sometimes I feel like they're almost two wings to the same bird half the time. And I know that, Republicans do act as if, and I'm sure there are a lot of good Republicans that do want change, just as I believe that there's probably some decent Democrats that want, logical Democrats that want change as well. But I just think when you get that high up, it's just like
changes you,
or the system kind of just is like, we don't have room for you.
But you're correct. Mm-hmm. When I talk to my friends about that, I mean, yes.
Yeah, it's like a clique.
It is. Mm-hmm. And you, in some places, have to pay your dues to build the trust, to be able to have the influence, and it's this whole process. Finances. But you have to play the game to stay relevant.
Yeah.
So there is that, and that happens statewide, locally, DC.
But why is there a game?
It's politics.
But it shouldn't be like that.
Really, the definition of politics should be games. Like, it's a game. That's what it is.
That's horrible, though, because the taxpayers are the ones that are paying for it.
Yeah.
Paying for it and paying for it.
But
paying for it both ways.
Here's where term limits eliminate a lot of that. Mm-hmm. Because if you're only there for 4 years, then there's turnover. I mean, there's only so much you can
always wonder,
accomplish.
though, with term limits, and I agree because I don't like the 30-year seats and stuff like that, like in Congress or whatever, senators and but how much can you really get done in 4 years if it flip-flops to another party and then they just undo everything you did?
But that happens every 4 years anyway.
Also, you shouldn't be signing fucking 100 executive orders either. Or what did Biden sign when he left? Like 2,000 or something like that? It was insane number of executive orders.
2,000? Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Don, look me up on that. Fact check me on that, Don.
I was like, I hadn't heard that.
ChatGPT, how many executive orders did Biden sign before he left?
Wait, did he sign them?
No.
Just wondering.
Auto. What does Trump always say? Auto signature. Yeah, auto pen. Yeah, auto pen for sure.
I think it's funny they're launching an investigation into that. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's over.
Well, it's pretty obvious. And I don't know how much. I mean, I know we were just discussing the whole immigration stuff and stuff like that, but like it's almost like. It's obvious. Like, I was telling you, I think that sometimes things are done nefariously and strategically at the same time, just in case outcomes don't go the way that they planned. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, how do we make it harder for the next one that's not a part of us? And, 10 to 20 million people come over illegally. That's going to be very difficult to handle, and it's not going to be pretty. Mm-hmm. So, I could definitely see that being a possibility. Now, like we were discussing how smart these people are in order to think of that. I don't like when we think that they are just, they're politicians. They're not that smart. They're done. Maybe not all of them, but, some of them I can guarantee you definitely know the game that they're playing, are definitely strategizing and sitting there and thinking about different outcomes and scenarios. Or like even when I had Patrick on, he's part of a think tank. Yeah. And I asked him, I go, well, how's that, like, who funds that stuff? And there's certain people that fund that. And I go, well, isn't that a possibility of like, couldn't that be corrupted in a sense? And he's like, yeah, which was nice that he was honest with me about it. So like if you have certain institutions like that and you have people sitting there and they're coming up with all these and looking through all this information and strategizing, how to benefit their people, of course there's going to be some fuckery involved. And, it's human nature. Like we said, like it's a game. It's who can climb up the ladder faster. We see that with our own mayor, Quentin Lucas. I mean, to think that he's not doing some of the things he's doing not to get to DC. I mean, come on.
That's his goal.
He's playing ball.
Everybody knows.
Yeah.
That. And he spent a lot of time in DC this last year.
Yeah. And when you're doing that, like it's just wrong. You're not helping the people. You're helping yourself. It's,
yeah.
And ultimately
but
the people are paying
selfish regardless.
Right. So
there is that.
And that's another issue too, like what we were discussing with the immigration thing, people out there protesting and stuff like that. And I get it. My heart goes out to people that are dealing with like getting separated from their families and stuff like that. But if we look at this objectively and we look at this logically, you knew what the law was, you knew what was a possibility, and no matter not if immigrants are the backbones of America, like that's great and very appreciated. But I mean, there's also a lot of Americans also that have built this country too. Mm-hmm. And to completely either forget about them or taking their jobs, because I mean, where are they? These, people work at construction industries, factories, stuff like that. And a lot of these businesses are getting away with using it as cheap labor, as we discussed earlier. It's like, we just have to look at these things and just be like, am I being selfish right now? Like, you can go protest. There's nothing wrong with that. Please stop burning shit.
Peacefully.
Yeah, please stop burning shit. And I get it. I'm not going to be like one side or the other where it's like, they're all peaceful, or the other side, they're all criminals and rioting. Like, definitely there's a center. There's good people, there's bad people. People take advantage of situations. I know. But regardless, it's like, what is the mission here? What are you trying to do? Like, is what you're saying right? Like, this whole constitutional, you're stepping on people's constitutional rights and blah, 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 blah. Which to me, it's like, I have seen some issues of some people getting deported that were actually not deported. They were getting detained because they were citizens. But if you read the article that says that, and then you actually like deep dive into the details, detained could be anything. Detained could be going to jail for a day, or it could be they just put you in handcuffs. They figured out you're a U.S. citizen. Hey, sorry, dude, you were in the group of people. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so many, and it sucks. It's not right. But American citizens deal with that, I'm sure, in many different situations here where you actually get, arrested on accident because you're with a group of people or you're in a certain area. Mistakes happen. It's not right. But to be out there protesting as if like that justifies them to stay or stepping on people's constitutional rights. One, on someone who's not even born here. You don't have constitutional
rights if you're not a citizen here.
Right. That's my biggest thing too. It's like, dude, I would love to get like another point of view from a person on that side. Please be healthy and like sane, because man, sometimes when I look at these protests, I'm like a lot of them just look almost unhealthy. You know what I mean? Do
you believe that these protests are people who believe what they're protesting for, or they're getting paid, it's organized, and they're there to cause problems? So
I've gone down the rabbit hole. I do believe that they're definitely getting financial backing on some of these. I just watched a video.
I mean, we know the George Floyd stuff, like they were getting paid.
George Soros was a big
there.
Yeah, he was in it. I
don't know why this would be different.
Yeah, no. And also the new one that's happening this Saturday. So we'll see if it's as peaceful as
Kansas
yesterday's.
City?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The No Kings
Gracia was
protest.
Like, was it peaceful? It was like mostly just one scuffle and somebody shot off fireworks. So I would say that's mostly peaceful.
Oh, yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, someone shot fireworks off, and then
the
everybody
fireworks
dispersed.
Weird. Yeah, I don't know why they're shooting fireworks.
Dispersed. Everyone just went their own way after that. So.
Yeah, and it's weird. And then you see the news, they can't even show half the signs that are on there. They're all blurred out. It's just fuck ICE and fuck what. It's just a bunch of fucking just crazy shit, which, I mean, me being a libertarian, of course, I'm on the side of in the Fed. So that's including ICE as well. But I mean, if it wasn't ICE, it'd be the military deporting people back. So it doesn't
100%.
ICE, military. It is what it is. I mean, you have to live in a nation. I'm not a left-leaning libertarian that believes in open borders. I was at one time. Then you kind of grow up and realize like, oh, well, that's not going to kind of work. If
you're not a country if you don't have borders.
Yeah, you're not a nation. And but I could see the negative outcomes of that, and especially if you're born here already, it's like you should be able to have opportunities, not saying we should give you the opportunity.
No, but why
you should
am I paying for hotels?
Oh, yeah.
And food.
Nice hotels.
For very nicer hotels than what I usually stay in. For you to destroy it, first of all, because some of them wasn't couple of them in New York, like historical hotels or something. I mean, they were just destroyed. And they're, women were getting raped, and I mean, terrible things were happening, drugs, all of that. Like, I'm so sorry. Why do I have to fund that? I don't agree with that lifestyle. No. I don't agree with you coming in and taking advantage of that. Yeah. At the very least, like, maybe for a couple months, but get yourself a job and then get off of our, our taxes. I mean, at the very least, but that's not what happened. That's not how it went down.
No. And some of the pricing I was looking at, like some of the meals were costing like $40 a meal. And it looked like a lunch tray from like the school.
Were they like catered in?
Yeah. I mean, they were made, I'm sure, by a company, but it was like a shitty lunch. So you go, that's worth $40. That looks like $5. Where's the rest of that money going? That's what I'm wondering. And some of those people's salaries that are running those organizations that are housing them and stuff like that, we're making pretty good money. So, you could see why it'd be definitely a benefit for them to continue it, and I think that's really what it comes down to. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure a lot of them want to help too. And I get it. It sucks, if you're really in it and you're seeing these people and the what they're going through in their other countries. But
as a human, that's hard.
As a human, it is hard, but it's like, we can't play this game of we save everybody, and we're not even taking care of our own selves. Like, there's a lot of people struggling out here, and I get it, it's different struggles. But I mean, how many people I talk to that's like, I got to have 2 incomes. I got to work a 3rd job,
all the time.
I can't even enjoy my kid because I got to get back to work, and my wife's got to get back to work after only having 6 weeks off of, paternity leave. So to give me that, that sob story, yeah, I feel, but like, I also feel for the people in our country. I mean, take care of ourselves, take care of our nation first, and then once we're taken care of, then we can discuss things of taking care of others. But I agree. But make it an option. Right. GoFundMes are beautiful.
They are.
You can
People
donate
can privately give to whatever
want.
They want to.
Exactly.
And but we have children that are literally starving to death in America. We can't seem to make sure that all of our children are being fed. Yeah. But we have billions of dollars to give to other countries. I will never understand any of that.
I'd like to know whose children are starving because every time I see poor people in America, they're usually obese. But
it's not usually the poor kids. It's more of there's the poor, right? Where you qualify for all the government assistance. And then there's, like the upper middle class. And then there's this section in between of people who don't qualify for government assistance, but maybe they, like you said, have multiple jobs.
Right.
And, or there's the single mom that maybe she makes just too much money for that, but she's still trying to pay for the apartment and the bills. Yep. And, so then there's food. Yes. But
or there's some people that fall between the cracks of not meeting, to where they can apply for these, assistance, and they don't make enough to really, have much. So.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I was a single mom and I opted not to do the food stamp thing because it was really a lot of effort to do that. I could never understand how people did all. I mean, I'm just like, it's a lot. You can scoot up a little now. Sorry, it's a lot to do that. But
Dom, is that arm in her face?
In her face?
Yeah. No, you're good. Okay, sorry.
You're fine. So that I remember. I mean, we got WIC, and I remember like there were times that I didn't pay the electric bill, and I got the the notice of maybe it could get turned off. It's bugging you, isn't it?
It is bugging me. It's just because I need you about a fist away. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Perfect.
Sorry. Yeah, it's with these. It's difficult to be able to like move around a lot. So many people. It's because these you have to kind of be close and stuff.
That
if
makes
not,
sense.
It'll sound far away. And then when I go to post edit, I got to make it sound louder and. That'll start to pick up. Yeah. So
nice.
They always like to mow on Wednesdays. I had someone tell me, they were like, can you stop talking about the mowing on Wednesdays, please? I'm like, I'm sorry, it's loud. You usually don't hear it very much through the audio, but.
The last time we were here, it was a dog barking. And you're like, is that dog? What is he barking at?
No, I need to get a studio, but we're poor. So contribute, please. Patreon. Actually, I got to get my Patreon up and going. They suspended my account. The CIA's onto us, Dom.
Oh.
They found us. Yeah, that's who gave me a black
He's
eye.
in the back. He's in the background.
He's like, they don't know about me
a
yet.
Black eye.
Yeah.
So you're familiar with this whole tactic, huh?
I know. Me and Elon. They got to us.
Oh, Elon.
No, I'm not important enough.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so yeah, the this whole deal, you know, I wish my tablet was working, but I have ideas on the way they should have gone about this deportation process, and it's not really my idea. It's just people I listen to, and I've kind of, you know, considered, you know, like the pros and the cons of it. But I think a tier system would have been better. So like you start with the violent ones, that we know we have records.
Which is what they're doing right now, right?
Supposedly.
Okay.
But I think they're also, whoever's there, it's like, if you're not documented, we're not going to come back for you. You're already here. I understand that. Start with those first, then work your way down to where you get to the actual illegal immigrants that have jobs, that are contributing. You know, some of them do pay taxes. You know, and so then you'll go to them. But that gives them time to, at least they know it's happening. They get their shit in order. You know, that way when they go back, maybe they have some money. You know, blah blah blah. I think that would have been better. But my biggest one, and I've been saying this for a while, and please tell me if you see any holes in this. Go after the companies that are hiring them. Okay, like this whole Grain Valley deal. Did you see they busted that factory? I don't know which factory it was. I just I have some people on my Facebook that share stuff, and they were going live, and there was ICE agents in that.
It's a factory in Grain Valley.
Yeah, it was like a break room, and they got them. But see, the owner's like, or there was another one in Nebraska that just got raided today, and the owner's like, "Well, I didn't know. They fucking arrested like 30 people. You didn't know?"
Is Tyson Foods in Sedalia going to be next?
Probably. Like, you didn't know? I ran it through E-Verify, and it's like...
You did not.
But E-Verify can be fake. You can use somebody else's
Absolutely.
social. You know 100%. What I mean? And I get that. That can get murky.
Yes.
But if you even have a hunch, man, you are a private business. Maybe don't take the risk. And I get it. That could be looked at as like discriminating, blah, blah, blah. You can get a whole bunch of legal factors on that, which I think that's bullshit as well. It's like, let a privatized business run the way they want. But like, you do these things, if you were to crack down and actually hold these companies accountable, and I'm sure there's somebody smarter out there that can help with like how to help business owners figure out who is who and how, you know, how to do that. I'm sure there's somebody smarter than me that can figure this out. But if we made it to where like they would get jail time, not fines, companies can pay fines. They're not worried about that.
Yeah.
They'll take the risk if it's a fine involved. But actual jail time, then naturally there will be no places for them to work, and they'll naturally self-deport.
Okay, so my question is, are they paying them under the table? Are they paying them?
No, like, a lot of them get paychecks, you know, but you got to understand, a lot of them use
a social security
number. A lot of
number
them use a social that's purchased.
So how do you confirm all of that? Like,
That's what I'm saying. We need someone smarter
through
than
the
me.
IRS, or I mean, what? How does that work?
I don't know.
Is there?
I'm sure there's some holes into it.
Maybe there is a system. I'll have to ask my husband.
I don't know. There's got to be something out there. I mean, there's got to be something better than playing cowboy out there trying to round these people up. You know, I just think it costs too much. What do they say? It costs $17,000 per immigrant or something like that?
It was something crazy.
Yeah, isn't it cheaper?
Okay, but to be fair,
Trump did offer $1,000.
He did offer $1,000.
I think he should have bumped it up.
You know, for some of these, and he probably could have.
Yeah. Give him $5,000.
For some of these countries, you take $1,000 back and you're wealthy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Mexico,
dollars. I don't know.
American dollars.
Mexico's not as expensive as people think. Yeah. Maybe like, yeah, for sure. But
there's not a lot of people from Mexico coming over here illegally.
Yeah, I don't know what the number is on that.
It's mostly the other countries. They're coming through Mexico, but it's like Venezuela,
which Mexico?
Honduras.
How did that happen? We want to know. How'd they even get up here? They had to cross multiple borders.
They did, and they allowed it to happen.
I know they did. It's ridiculous.
Until Trump was like, "Hey, No more. Oh, okay.
Have you seen Mexico right now? They're dealing with a lot of shit in their country with Central Americans. Like they're all out in tents and shit. And granted, this is all media.
Because they
so maybe
started coming and stopped.
Yeah, and a lot of them stopped or a lot.
They told them they couldn't go through anymore.
They couldn't get through. And so now they're stuck.
Oh, gosh.
And they're like, it's crazy to watch like Mexico, like Mexicans from Mexico protesting that shit. Like they're pissed right now. Because imagine if you lived in those areas.
How do you think Americans feel?
I know. I get it.
It's a country thing. You wouldn't go to Italy and just be like, I'm just going to live here the rest of my life.
Well, kind of. Europe's fucked right now. They got a lot of people just influxing into their countries. Like, what was it, a video I watched? It was like a guy walking through France, and he's like, it's like all, like, I don't know where they're from, Middle East, somewhere. But like they're walking through and they're like, am I ever going to see a French guy? Like, what the hell? And there's something, and I am like, I'm mixed. So, and I know I look predominantly white, but like, I sometimes would love for the world to be mixed because I'm like, then we can stop fighting over dumb shit, color, race.
But don't you think that most Americans are a melting pot, a mixture?
Yes, but people tend to click, to their own, what they look predominantly
based
or who they associate with. Yeah. Not all, but, people do. You see it in immigrant communities. They want to move and live in an area where they're around more of their people, or minority communities. I've heard that a lot. Like, I want to live in this area because it's predominantly Hispanic, and they feel more comfortable there.
But what does that mean? Because from what I understand, it's like the Cubans don't like the Mexicans who don't like the,
for sure.
It's this.
No, there's definitely racism in all races.
All that. And I'm like, totally fascinated by that.
Oh yeah, let's break the news here. It's not just white people, okay? That's what drives me nuts too. It's
black people.
It's
there's racism in all.
Well, levels. The thing is that white people are racist. Some white people could be racist, and also some Mexicans could be racist. Some black people can be racist. There's many people that 100%. Can be racist, and also stop watering the word racist down. Like you're watering down like crazy, but. I see no difference if a person wants to be around all white people. I don't give a fuck. This is your life. If you feel more comfortable in that, go for it. Would I suggest, hey, man, you should probably go check out other different cultures and but if you don't want to, I'm not here to tell him what to do. You do whatever you want, as long as you're not telling me what to do.
Yeah.
And it's no different than when minorities say it as well. Because this is the thing I'm trying to bridge this gap, because I'm tired of hearing minorities always pointing the fingers at whites, and then white people feeling offended, so they're pointing fingers back. And it's like, guys, you guys are pretty much the same fucking people, just from different places and different colors. That's it. You guys all kind of want the same thing. From
different places?
Make money. Well, I mean, if they're from...
if we're American, we're all from, right. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't understand any of that. And I guess I'll never
culture-wise, I guess, or maybe they are from a different country and came over here.
Yeah.
There's different... We're all the same. We want the same thing in the world. We want money. We want to be able to provide for our family. We want to have a decent life. We want to live. I mean, if you don't have a family, you just want to have a good life. Like, we all want the same thing. So why are we fighting with each other?
Yeah, I agree with that.
But yeah, with the whole this immigration, I hope it settles down. I don't think it's as big as everybody says. Like LA, but LA is always protesting and setting fires.
California in general is having issues always.
Yeah. Well, I think really it's just the metropolitan area, because California is so vast. So big.
You mean
centralized
to
compare Northern California to LA, it's like completely night and day.
But San Francisco, that's been a whole ordeal for
How far north
years.
are they though?
I want to say it's 6 hours.
Is it?
I could be off on that. My mom grew up in Northern California,
really?
But I want to say it's about 6 hour drive.
Yeah, because I was at California like a couple years ago. I was in San Jose though. But California's wild. It's different, and I don't like to lump
California.
Yeah, I don't like lumping California as a whole, though. And we do that a lot here. And not here, but everywhere it does that. Those always, I love memes.
I think people do that because in general, they consistently have.
Well, you can't break down every city that you should just say California. Yeah,
right. And they consistently are run under Democratic leadership.
Right.
As a whole. The entire state.
Yeah. Oh, Gavin Newsom.
Well, Gavin Newsom, but isn't there? I think their attorney general is Democrat. I think it's pretty one-sided over there.
For sure.
Missouri is too. It's not. Kansas. It's.
I honestly think you should just let California run the way it runs. The amount of people that are leaving just shows that it's a failed state. So
it absolutely is a shit. But But see,
Let 'em run.
that's in my
I
opinion.
wouldn't even send troops in. I'm like, you got it? Bet. We don't need to spend that money
The
anyways.
biggest thing is that the Olympics are coming and that they don't want LA destroyed for that.
It's always sports. It's always fucking sport. We bend over backwards for sports.
I don't
The
know.
World Cup's coming. Now we
Okay,
have to fix all our
But
shit.
what is something that, okay, you're right. We can talk about that too.
Yeah.
But I mean, sports can be so unifying and bring people together.
It is beautiful.
And so that is something that we can all lean into. And having the Olympics in the United States of America, there's a sense of pride with that, right?
That's cool.
But we don't want, I mean, what? So everyone comes in and they see a half burnt down city where it used to be beautiful. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense.
Maybe don't send it to LA. Maybe send it somewhere
I think
else.
it's already too late. Can they change the city? I mean, I doubt it, but I mean,
I
that's
think you can
where the
change-
bid was put in.
I think you can change whatever you want. I think they just make it to where they make us think like we can't. Oh, well, contracts are already signed. Why can't you change it? Tell me why.
Well, if the contract's signed, I mean, probably legal.
Legal matters, I guess. You get
Probably.
sued.
Everybody's getting sued.
I mean, you couldn't have put
Everybody's
in
getting
you couldn't have put
sued.
in small print. Make sure your shit's cleaned up before we get there, and then if it's not, hey, we can void the contract. Like, I mean, come on. I'm sure that contract was like 1,200 pages. You know,
Oh, I'm sure.
just
I'm
like
sure of it.
the big beautiful bill. So
The big, beautiful bill.
yeah, I don't know. It's just I like sports. I love sports. I grew up on them, but as I've gotten older, I've seen a lot of the issues with it. I mean, it reminds me a lot of like modern day Roman Colosseums, like kind of the entertainment for the common people to go and forget and to have a sense of unity.
Go look over here, not over
Yeah,
here.
and let out all your anger. Oh, I'm a Chiefs fan. I'm going to beat you up if you're a Raiders fan, that type of stuff. I'm sure, Dom, you deal with that a lot, being a Raiders fan.
It's gotta be rough
News
in
broke
Kansas
here.
City.
Yeah, dude. They're
Dang.
gonna unsubscribe from us for you being a Raiders fan.
Said
Yeah, you're right. I
Oh, I
knocked
thought
on
you were
myself.
saying the Raiders are going to unsubscribe from the West because
No. Dom's a Raiders fan, so
it's got to be really hard.
yeah. But and I was one of those, like I didn't think about much. I was just like all football, like stats, all that stuff. But as you get older, you just kind of see the fuckery behind it, and it's fun, but at the same time, let's point out the bad. Like for instance, we were talking about the stadiums. I'm a big supporter for owners of their teams to foot their own bill. Like if you want your stadium, you want your team, you make enough money to be able to fund this yourself. To rely on taxpayer dollars, I just find it insane, And I don't mind if you came out and said, hey, we're going to start a GoFundMe, and if our loyal Chiefs fans would like to donate, you get a free Chiefs keychain, and then
A keychain.
I'm sure, I mean,
Nice. Wow, I'm
maybe
very
hold on.
motivated.
Maybe they would be very generous and give you a free jersey. I doubt that, but
They did that for the season ticket holders one year.
Oh,
It was
did they?
customized. I got one.
Did
yeah.
they? Well,
Yeah.
then there you go. I'm wrong. Then maybe they'll give you a free jersey if you donate to their stadium. Why couldn't they have done that? But they don't want to. They'd rather go through, the old political route and try to pull as much money as they can out of it.
Now,
So,
this legislation that just passed
Mhm.
is just that legislation.
Mhm.
So it was not specific. It's not a contract with the Chiefs or the Royals in the state.
it's not a contract.
It's not a contract. It's legislation.
So help me understand this then.
Okay. So there's NBA team, NFL team,
Mhm.
or MLB, and I believe soccer is in there too. Hockey's not included in this bill. This legislation. I can't even say that word. But basically what that means is if St. Louis or Springfield or anyone wants to get a team, this legislation covers that team also. This is not specific to the Kansas City Chiefs and the Royals.
But what are they covering?
It's a tax credit.
Yeah.
Tax credit. So when they collect sales tax, they have I believe it's 50%. I probably have numbers
Yeah,
here.
they basically get to
But-
keep those funds to be able to pay their bill or their loan or whatever the hell to cover their cost.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So it's 50%. Basically, so they get to keep that tax money.
Mhm.
The Royals could use it to build a new stadium. Chiefs are going to use it to renovate. That's what they would use it for. 50%. The other 50% would be privately funded. Is how that would work. Now this is up to $1 billion in a 30-year plan.
Yeah, like 1.5 or something like that, $1 billion, wasn't it?
Is it?
Oh, sorry.
I think it's up to $1 billion.
When it comes to numbers, I'm like,
and then it comes down to, it was someone, because someone had said it was like, $50 million a year, but that would be 1.4 billion, I believe.
there was debate though on, I thought they were saying that they were getting more money out of this proposal, but well, actually, I mean, it
As
already
opposed to what,
passed,
Kansas?
as opposed to last year's April deal, the 70%.
Oh, probably.
But it doesn't. But I know. But I tried to look at that, and granted, this is, Missouri House passes 1.5 billion. Show Me
1.5
Sports
billion.
Act.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's up to 1.5 billion
To
over the
support
course.
Chiefs and Royal Stadium projects.
Well, of course, that's how they titled it.
But they didn't give us.
It's good to understand that this is purely legislation. So, yes, where it currently affects the Kansas City Chiefs and the Royals, if another professional sports team comes to Missouri, this will also apply to them.
Oh.
So that's what's been passed.
Which they want. How many times have they been talking about a basketball team?
Well, NBA. I mean, we used to have the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
And
I get it. I'm sure it brings a lot of money to the city, but so hold on. So this is what they're getting. What's in the bill? Bonds. Missouri can issue bonds for stadium projects of 50 million plus with 30,000 plus seats.
Mm-hmm.
Repayment is tied to one baseline year of tax revenue, excluding World Cup income. Tax credits, 50% of private investment, max 50 million, or 10% of total cost. Prevailing wages required for construction labor. We just talked about how easy that is to skirt around.
Yep.
Bill includes clauses to claw back funds if a team relocates.
Now, it's also important to understand they're talking about state taxes.
But there's a catch. Neither the Royals nor the Chiefs have officially committed to staying in Missouri.
Correct.
If they haven't said how much public money they expect from either state, Missouri's funding also depends on sufficient public investment from local governments. Kansas Star bond offer expires June 30th, and so far there's been no public sign of commitment from either team, though both have said updates are coming this summer. They love to keep us on. We're going to tell you one day.
It would shock me if the Chiefs moved to Kansas.
Well, Kansas is offering them 70%.
But that would shock me because I believe that the historical value of Arrowhead Stadium means something.
This one's just covering renovation costs, right? Not
just
move.
Renovation. But see, have you seen their renovation plans?
Mm-mm.
Oh. You
nice.
should look that up. It's nice.
Yeah. And I get that because
they'll tear down Kaufman.
Well, they said it's been a long time since they had renovations, which they just had renovations like a couple of years ago. Yeah. Was it 2010?
I think it was 2010.
When they made that whole room for No, they just recently made that. I guess those are small renovations, I guess. I guess if we're talking about large renovations.
I was talking about large renovation to the stadium.
Which I get. I mean, 2010, I get it. It's, it's been a while, I could see that.
But you are correct. They had smaller renovations, like that bar
box
down by
seats and stuff like that. I think they renovated, and
there's like this bar area down there by the locker room that didn't used to be there.
Yeah,
that was newer, and they did renovate the locker rooms.
Yeah,
and that was more recent.
And I just don't know what their big push was to get downtown. Which it looks
You're talking about the Royals.
Yeah, the Royals. Yeah, I guess we're flip-flopping back and forth. But
you want to know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because money.
Oh, yeah.
It's money in their pocket. So here's how this works. So they want the taxpayers to fund the billion-dollar stadium downtown. Meanwhile, investors and owners who have millions or billions of dollars are going to invest in the community around, meaning build the ballpark village. So they're going to have the restaurants and bars and all of the extra stuff, like Wrigleyville. If you've ever been there to Wrigleyville, it'll be just like that. Well, they're going to own all of that. That's the moneymaker. The stadium itself is not a moneymaker.
Right.
Once you
it's
build
always
it,
everything
it's
around
concrete,
it.
right?
Yeah.
What are you going to make money off of? You're not. You're going to pay it out and nothing comes back from that.
Right.
So why would they fund a stadium? See, in my opinion, they should fund the stadium, and then the taxpayers should fund the ballpark village and put money back in our pockets. Because that would be through that would be through the taxes of the and sales just in that area, generated in that area, parking.
But when we say we're going to get a kickback from that, what kind of kickback are we getting back from that?
From like money from sales and everything, because you
for
can
the city though, right?
for the city, which
because that's the thing that they
can
always
help
like
balance
to
our budget,
right?
So we don't have to fit the bill for everything.
But we're already having a problem. We discussed
Because we're
balancing our
$1.6 billion more in expenses than what we have.
It just sounds like there's people in the office that don't know how to balance a budget. So
or they don't care.
So but me giving them more money, it's like giving a person that's having debt issues with credit cards. If I give them more money, they're just going to go into more debt. Are they going to pay it off? Do we know that?
Do they care?
Know. We're going to. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, if that's your lifestyle, do you care?
Yeah, that's my problem. So it's like, give me my money back and let me donate it to it. I was talking about this with somebody. Milton Friedman, they said, was the one who created the whole where the money comes out of your paycheck for your taxes. They can.
Oh, really?
I don't know what that system is called, but it used to be everyone was basically like a 1099. You'd pay your taxes at the end of the year, and he said on his deathbed that was one of his biggest regrets. I mean, this is Milton Friedman, like iconic libertarian, and I think we need to go back to that because I think the problem is right now is that everyone's just getting slowly a small drip of, I mean, not small. I mean, people notice it coming out of their check weekly, but it's not as significant as if you had to write the $20,000 check at the end of the year or the $10,000 check or shit. My buddy's a doctor. He said he pays $70,000 a year. Like, that's wild. This whole tax to rich thing
and he doesn't get to choose what his money goes towards.
No, and that's the problem.
I think that is the problem. If only
now,
you could say, I want this tax dollars here to go fund this and this to fund this, I would feel better about it.
The problem is this is what they're going to say is that not everybody's going to contribute. Like how many people are not going to write that check at the end of the year? I can see that being an issue.
Where it's automatically deducted
but they can opt out of that. I mean, what do we do if you don't pay your taxes? You end up going to jail. So,
of course you do.
I mean, there's ways to cover that,
And then people will protest that you went to jail.
Yeah. Well, we can't do anything about, unlogical
you didn't
people.
Pay your bills or your taxes.
Yeah.
Which taxes are a giant Ponzi scheme anyway. It's a giant sham.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because we're not in control of what's going
100%.
to. And apparently our local government thinks building parks and like these what are they trying to do at the I-70 or whatever?
The park
build the
over
dome
the top
over the
of
thing.
the I-70.
Yeah, to connect it. Now they're trying to do Southwest Boulevard. They want to redo all that and all this stuff. It's going to be great for the people.
It's going to be great because you don't have the money for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's what I want to know. Now that you dropped that bombshell on me, how the hell are they paying that? I mean, just write a check.
Doesn't matter.
Who cares? Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thing. And maybe I'll never understand it, but even on the national level, our debt, we're trillions of dollars in
34
debt.
34 trillion.
And I'm like,
no, 36 trillion.
But how does that work?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. They broke it down by seconds. I think they said, God, what was a billion seconds or something like that? It was like 1930, and like a trillion seconds is like 200 years ago or something. I might be completely off on that.
But I mean, how do you function though? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like how we can still be functioning, as a country, and we're that far in debt, and we still have politicians fighting cuts.
Mm-hmm.
They want more spending. They're pissed off that we have cuts, and I'm like, I just don't understand.
I don't think those cuts are going to happen though.
What, in the big beautiful bill, or
no, like on Doge, like what Doge was trying to do, the 1 billion that they found in 3 months that they were in there.
Didn't they already cut some of that out?
I think that has to be passed, doesn't it? Doesn't they have to go through some sort
all of it? Or
I don't know. That's where I like knowledge on.
Because I thought that some of them did stuff. Because I thought something came out, and maybe been with the IRS, where they tried to sue Trump, but then the Supreme Court said that he could do it, right?
This is the problem, Christina. There's so much information.
There is a lot of information.
It's so hard to keep track of everything. And why? Why is it like that? I don't have
We have a lot being thrown at us.
I know.
On a daily basis.
It is.
It's
overwhelming.
To be fair, with this administration, he has 4 years. And like you said earlier, how do you get anything done in 4 years?
Yeah. Well, you don't do that by doing the big, beautiful bill and adding $5 trillion onto the debt. That's another issue.
There's that.
Yeah. That's where he fumbled the ball with me. It's like, and thank God Thomas Massey's in there. And I know they call him what do they call him? the vote no guy, or
They're very upset with him.
Yeah, but he's not saying no. Follow his Instagram. He's very public. He's like, I'm not saying no. This just doesn't make sense.
He says, I'm willing to negotiate. Come talk to me. I will negotiate. He has said that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Ron Paul, they're all saying the same thing. I don't understand how that's not logical. I don't understand how you can these people have not changed since they've been in office. Like, they've been the same. A lot of other people we can't say that about. Even Trump himself. He switched from Democrat to Republican. Those three guys have been the same guys since they've started.
Well, I think the Democrat Party ideologies has switched.
I get that. I'm just saying. I get that. But what I'm saying is, like, they've stood by their principles. They're looking after the American people. That's why they're not very liked, because they're not businessmen. They're not let's benefit our party. Like, even I'm not I'll back libertarians no matter what. Fuck no. No, I stand on libertarian principle. Like that's for the people, you know? Like, non-aggression, give us our tax dollars back. Let's protect our America first, you know? Give power back to the states, you know, let people decide what they do with their money, not what you think is right for them, because majority of the time you don't even know what's right for them. You may live in a completely different area that you're not dealing with the struggles that these people are dealing with. So, but
that falls down even on a local level. So when I ran for Jackson County Legislator, when I filed, I was my neighborhood, right? So South Kansas City and a part of Grandview. Well, then in the midst of all of that, they redistricted. That was a redistricting year. And next thing I know, the area I'm running for is South Kansas City, Waldo, Brookside, downtown, up to northeast, south of the river. Those are 600 different worlds.
Yeah.
How does one person represent all of that? But see, what happened was, so they have, you know, Republicans from the Jackson County Jackson County Republican Committee, Democrat Committee, right? And there may be others as well. They go on, they talk about it. They talk about how they want to redistrict things and gerrymander everything around. And the Democrats are like, we're going to sue you if you don't agree with it. The Republicans were like, you know, it's fine. We don't really want to deal with this. So whatever you think, it's fine. I'm like, you literally know that because you changed all of that, like you lost a Republican. I mean, the Republican will not win.
Yeah,
you know that, right?
They make it to where you can't. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, it was impossible.
Yeah.
So that's how. So it happens on the local level too. I mean, one person can't represent all of those neighborhoods fairly.
Right.
It just can't happen
because they're all different.
The Northeast deals with very different things than we do in South Kansas City or Waldo or Brookside. I mean, everyone's ideologies are different. How do you represent and be a voice for someone in downtown when that's very different than somebody in Waldo?
Well, that's what happens when you don't balance a budget correctly and you don't have enough money to hire more people. You know, where's that money going? Lucas, hit me up.
There's not enough people asking questions.
Yeah.
And part of the other issue is...
what can you do? If you go and you stir anything, even if the people go and stir, you're going to get labeled a terrorist. You know, being attacked. Oh, God. You know, January 6th. You know, everyone's got PTSD from that. Yeah. So it's like, what can you really do? You know, I mean, there's people been getting deplatformed.
What people can do is they can educate themselves and vote accordingly. And that's not happening.
And that is, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is a thing that we discussed this earlier, that more people are starting to be engaged in politics, but how many people are acting on it? Even myself included. 100%. I'm guilty of that as well. And I understand, especially locally, it's kind of hard. I know the federal stuff's more sexy, you know, more out there on the news and Trump and Biden and all this stuff. But like, locals where you're going to make the most impact. You know, 100%. It's kind of like stop worrying about cleaning up other people's neighborhoods or other people's countries. Start with your own first. And and if everybody did that, like if everybody took care of their own home, then you would have a nice area.
You would have a nice neighborhood.
Yeah. So same thing. If you're voting locally and you're more engaged and you're more informed, which like I said, I need to get better on myself, you will have a better county and then a better city and a better state, and that'll spread. But I don't know. I almost think, and I know I'm not going to say it's the government's, like they're the only one trying to make it very difficult, even though I think they are. Like if you get on some of these websites they have, very hard to navigate, very hard to know what's true, what's not. It's
it's hard
a
to
lot
read
of
those bills.
the bills, like omnibus. I think it's called omnibus bills when they're all lumped in. That's another thing that drives me nuts. Single issue bills, please. Single issue bills.
But that's not
It's not feasible.
going to happen.
Why?
It should be feasible.
This is why I want to be in
No,
these
it should
meetings.
be feasible.
I want to be in these city council meetings and just go,
No,
why?
it's not going to happen. But here's why: because there's too many people in DC or in politics in general, in the government, with special interests.
Oh, for sure.
So that's why it's never going to happen.
Yeah. Hey, make sure you lump all this shit in and then
Yes.
lump this in because I know that's going to pass
Yes.
and this will pass with it.
Yeah, I mean, even locally, we have a senator out of Lee Summit who, big pharma's in his pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you think he votes?
I mean,
and he's a Republican.
But even Trump right now, he stood on a lot during his campaigns and he is very for the people. But even he falls victim to the, I say victim, gets corrupted, I feel like, or has a bad team around him maybe that's not advising him correctly. But it's like, Trump, if you were for the people, then you would see a lot of these problems, which you have, and you are, I'm giving him credit, you are addressing. But at the same time, also, too, 1,100-page big, beautiful bill. Like,
yeah.
Why, man? And I don't see anything wrong with, even, I was talking to Tony about Pete Mundo. I enjoy his show. There's not everything I agree on, but I think it's a very balanced and fair on his takes. He has even said, not on that particular issue, but he's even pointed out some of the Trump's wrongdoings or mistakes, and I appreciate that. I think that needs to happen more. You can't have a blind following. If someone's doing something
that's
wrong,
our world right now.
I know, but it's bad, and it's not just Democrats. We can't blame the snowflakes.
No, it's not.
on the Republican side as well. And I think if we stop with the whole team mentality and just go, hey, man, you're not. This isn't right, and have these conversations. I mean, it's happening though, because if you notice, memes are taking over. Like they're changing the game. They are changing the game. I mean, how many? Me personally too. I share a lot of memes, but like. They're changing it to where these people are seeing them and they're getting bombarded and they're going, well, shit, I don't know. So many people are saying this. Like, what do I do? Like, am I doing something wrong? Like, it will change people's minds. And we're starting to see that. But it's not, I don't know. Sometimes then it's taken lightly. It's like, what are they really going to do? We can get away with all this stuff. So I just don't, it's kind of an uphill battle and it's not very fair. And unfortunately, my take on how to change things isn't the prettiest and may get me looked at as being radical, but sometimes I don't believe voting is even going to get us out of the hole that we're in right now, because this has been going so long, and all the good people want to not be involved in politics. You don't know how many good people that I meet, and I'm like, dude, you're a fair dude. Like, you should run. Yeah. You should run for like council member.
But it is literally a dog-eat-dog world out there with politics. And
look at Wes Graves. He ran for North Kansas City. He literally told me, he's like, I walked in as an independent. I walked out a Republican because of how bad I was getting bullied there. It was ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Yeah. But it's a lot. Like, it takes a mental toll on you. I mean, after my race was over,
death threats.
Yes. Yeah. People are crazy.
He said one of them, one of the council members there, I think he named him. You should watch that episode. He was name dropping people.
Really?
Yeah. And he moved to Lee Summit. He had to get out of North Kansas City. But he said like they were bullying him. Like, one guy was like blocking him at the door. I can't remember what that guy's name was, what council member that was, but like he was blocking him at the door, not letting him go to sign up for I don't know if he had to re-sign up for city council or to be a member again. I don't know how that all works, but he said he was bullying him.
Submit to run. Is that what you're talking about?
That's probably what it is.
You do that at the courthouse.
Yeah, and he was like intimidating him, like as if he was going to scare him to like not run. And it's so weird the tactics he says. Like, one of the dudes, which he name dropped. I'm horrible at names, horrible at remembering shit. But like he would strategically hit up like old folks' homes and like gain the hearts of all these senior living facilities.
I should have done that.
To get to gain votes, you know.
I might have been.
It's just why, and
It doesn't really matter because you know what's happening there is they're not even really the ones voting. Like somebody goes in, fills out their ballots, and takes them in. So that happened in 2020.
Exactly. Oh, I didn't even think about that. You know, yeah, come on, Nancy, and they're just filling out their shit.
Who are you voting for?
Yeah, show them your ID.
Trump? Got it.
Yeah.
All right, not Trump.
Biden. Yeah, so it's just and I get it. It's a dog world. You know, they say this all the time in business. That's how business is. It's cutthroat. Well, why can't we change it? And I get it. I know I sound like very
no, you're not
like
wrong.
I live in you're living in a fantasy world, Gabriel. You're a libertarian. You're a fantasy. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But
you're not wrong. There was a group of us that ran for the county legislator at the same time. Only one was elected. Sean Smith was the only one of us that was elected. But all of us had never run for office before. We never did anything like this. So there was no special interest for us. We genuinely cared about the people.
What made you want to run?
Because I just figured I can't complain about everything if I'm not willing to do something about it.
That's how I feel now. That's what changed me. And I get many times like a buddy of mine, you know, really that pushes me. He's like, man, I'm telling you, man, you should go run for city council. They need guys like you, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't think I'd fit in, man.
Why do you want to fit in?
Because I have a hard time in the corporate world right now because I see a lot of fuckery in the corporate world, people abusing their power in their positions.
Doesn't
I know, but with some of the nasty things I've heard them doing to people, even the doxing, like what people are talking about these ICE agents, why they got masks on? Well, you have a kid in school and be possibly threatened that, you know, your kid's going to get bullied or who knows, maybe even worse. Kidnapped. You know, you never know.
Yeah,
you know?
it's a big deal.
And it's not right for you. And I get it. Would I love law enforcement to be able to, like, I don't like when they have like unmarked cars and like they're trying to hide their police logo. I don't agree with some of that stuff, but like they're in a position now where like they're not very liked for the things that they are doing. And so you kind of got to give them a little leeway, just like you have a mask on because you're scared you're probably going to get fired from your job being there or something.
Exactly.
Like they're probably thinking the same thing. At the end of the day, they're not robots. They're human beings. You know, yeah, they signed up for that job. Yeah. But you can't just go like, oh yeah, they need to just show they need to deal with it. Well, it's like, well, then their work better pay for some sort of private school, you know what I mean? Like they better be protecting their families that they sign up for it, because now they're going to start losing people.
Yeah.
So
well, also, you know, how many times have we seen, and this is a generalization, but what we see more often are those on the left side of the spectrum becoming more violent towards people like ICE or the Supreme Court judges when they released all of their addresses and then showed up outside their homes. You generally don't see a bunch of Republicans getting together and calling for death, you know, to those people or that that disagree with them. I mean, there is that piece of it, and I think that is where we need to start calming some things down. Yeah, because politics are the same way. I mean, you've heard of? I assume you've heard of. Oh my gosh, what do they call it when the police end up coming to your door because somebody calls and says that somebody's being murdered inside the house? What is that called?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of that too.
But it's happened to like Marjorie Taylor Greene. It happened to a bunch of
when they shot that lady, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Who is that?
So Marjorie Taylor Greene is a congresswoman.
Oh, never mind. I'm thinking of something else.
So there's also a couple or like multiple podcasters that have Republican podcasts that haven't. It's not doxing. What is it called? It's called something. So basically, somebody
like a false claim of like a
swatting. Thank you very much. It's called swatting. That's what it's called. Thank you. So what it is somebody.
Proud of you, Dom. You're stepping up, man.
Yeah. Somebody calls the police department and they says, you know, oh my gosh, I'm being, you know, somebody's attacking me or I'm being, you know, murdered, or they act like they're dying or whatever. And it's usually in the middle of the night. And then the police will show up to the, you know, or SWAT team will show up to the house and, you know, start banging on the doors and everything. And if you know, they think that this is real,
Oh, and then somebody gets shot in the process on
Well,
accident?
it hasn't so far, knock on what happened, but
Well, one lady did. The lady, I thought that was her name that
really?
you said. Yeah, they accidentally mistaken. Something happened and they accidentally shot her because they got a call and they went to the wrong apartment. And yeah, they ended up killing her. It was sad ordeal.
That is sad.
Yeah. But no,
But I mean, that's dangerous.
So,
This
yes.
is getting very, very dangerous.
Oh, I know. But it's not discussed enough, and if it is, it's
But
eyes
it's happening
rolled.
one-sided.
Yeah.
And I think that's not being talked about enough.
I just think people need to
The bombings or the blowing up of the Cybertrucks and Teslas and
they lit a lot of.
I mean, people are losing their minds.
They lit a lot of what are those things called? Those automated cars in Los Angeles? They were lighting those on fire.
They were.
But it was peaceful though.
It was very
and I get
peaceful.
it, and it sucks for those people who were protesting peacefully, because I don't want to take that away from you. I think that's wrong. Just like some of the arrests that I've been seeing, I have a list of names. I wish my damn thing was working, but I understand the Israel and Palestine thing. Can be it's a very controversial topic, but some of these people are being arrested for protesting to the Free Palestine movement and stuff like that. That's getting targeted, and that's scary. When people are getting arrested and stuff for free speech. I mean, you should be able to have free speech.
Are they getting arrested for free speech, or is there something else?
We'd have to look into details, but the ones that I have, I mean, I have all the names on here. I think where they skirt around it, I think some of them are residents, so they look at it as like, hey, you're not a full citizen, so you're not entitled to or not residents. I don't know what it's.
Well,
like,
I from
like
what
visa,
I understand, correct, and that's true. It's true. But at the same time, I believe, to my understanding, that many of them that were actually arrested and kept, they have ties to terrorist organizations.
Yeah.
Like Hamas and others.
And granted, could be a possibility, but I always get a little, because I've seen those before in the past where people are associated with
well, I mean,
and I have no stake in either.
It wouldn't
honestly, I just wish.
Honestly,
I wish both of them would just stop fucking fighting and because really what happens is, and this is what I explain people with the whole Israel and Palestine deal. It's the citizens who are paying of each country. It's really that's just it is what it is. I'm not a supporter of Hamas. I'm not a supporter of what Israel's doing. And I'm not one like I kind of take the Dave Smith approach on his anti-war outlook. But really
war sucks.
Yeah, war sucks, and we got to stop hiding behind war is ugly, because that's just a cop out, because people are dying from that, And I understand it's easier said than done, but I don't know, man. It's just not. I don't know. I think so these people are unlawful targeting of activists. Mahmoud Khalil, a Columbia student, permanent U.S. resident.
Yeah.
Mohsen Madawi, arrested April 15th. A citizenship interview in Vermont. Ramasai Ozturk, a tough student was arrested by masked agents on March 25th after speaking out about Gaza. Oh, but he did get released on bail. But it's just stuff like that, like I don't. When it comes to government deciding who is
from
what,
Overland Park, who was just murdered. The guy yelled "Free Palestine."
Oh yeah, the guy that shot
her boyfriend.
Yeah, I seen that. But that doesn't mean when things like that happen. Like that
Tensions
person
are too high.
Right. There's always going to be crazies too. You know what I mean? They're going to go out and shoot somebody.
There seems to be a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, is there? I mean, I know it's flooded on social media and, news and stuff like that. But like however many citizens in that country, like how many people are committing these, like what's the percentage?
I'm talking about here in America.
That's what I mean, in this country.
Okay.
Yeah. Like what's the stat on like these crazy things happening?
But I mean, isn't one too many?
I agree with that. I'm not saying we should allow it to happen. I'm just saying, is it as big of an issue as we really think it is? Or is it more isolated?
Okay, but that goes into a whole deeper conversation, and maybe this is part of a conspiracy theory, but I mean...
And you also can't nerf the world either. Things are going to happen.
Well, okay, so multiple Chinese nationalists have been detained recently for bringing biochemical materials into our country. Mm-hmm. What's that about? Like, there are things happening.
Oh, I know.
Also, in addition to that, our borders have been open for years. If you think people from part of Hamas and all this other haven't been coming into our country, I mean, there are people that are on the most wanted list that just walked right across the border.
That's why I'm
and they're in here and they have no idea who they are. So yeah, I do believe that things are organized. I do believe that there's things happening. under the noses of Americans. They have
But why
no
do you
idea.
think people want to come in here and cause trouble?
People hate America.
Right. But a lot of the times, though, we're stirring the pot in a lot of other countries as well.
Okay.
You know, why do we have so many bases in all these countries? Bring our troops back. America first. Let's stay here.
I agree with
Use the military that we have everywhere else to protect our borders.
Yeah.
And let's stay the fuck out of people's issues.
I agree with that.
You know,
And
if they want to
also-
pay us for security, then make it. If service members want to go and they want to get money, go. That's fine. You know,
Yeah.
but I don't know if we said this on the podcast, but I think we did. You know, like we're in foreign aid. We keep our money. Let's get our house in order first.
Agreed.
Then we can have, you know, if citizens want to donate to whatever, the government can come out and say, hey, this is the GoFundMe to send it to.
It'd be great.
Yeah, yeah. Or if we have some sort of business, you know, deals, which I kind of get leery on that just because the government's, I feel, very horrible at business decisions. But, I mean, good on some, but, you know.
The mineral
just,
deal. There was all
Yeah,
that.
and I just seen that. They just got that done, didn't they, with China? Did you see that this morning?
Oh, the mineral deal with China? I was
Yeah.
talking about Ukraine.
Oh,
but-
Ukraine. Yeah, I see
I mean,
that. So as long as if we're benefiting, it's different. And also too, it's like you need to ask the citizens. Like you got to. I think, it's probably difficult because then we would have to be knowledgeable on all these things that are going on. So I can get how that could be difficult. But if we had true leaders that were informing us, and we had schools that were actually, I feel like, educating us properly, you know, and that's a whole nother
that's a
topic.
whole other issue.
Yeah. And I don't want to bash them too much. I'm not saying that public schools are just horrible. No, there's a lot of good schools and there's a lot of good teachers that are trying. But definitely the comments I keep hearing is the curriculum needs to change, you know, needs to get updated. And I think they're trying, you know, but I don't. And then it's another thing
but
too.
some
It's
of
like
what's
parents.
being updated
Mhm.
is not. It's a different perspective for sure, but
Yeah.
it's not all accurate.
Right.
You know, especially when it comes to history and they're trying to take American history out of public schools.
Oh.
Why do we need to learn about Abraham Lincoln?
Well, I don't think they should be taking it out, but to think that the history that we grew up with is accurate.
I think that we can learn from a history, but
Yeah.
that's not taught.
No, but I think
You're always going to be taught from an American point of view.
yeah, winner's point of view.
Just like China.
Anywhere.
Anywhere. Like
yeah, anywhere.
the
No, we're not
Italians
the only ones.
teach their point of view
Yeah.
of World War I.
History is written by the victors.
100%.
yeah, yeah. So I'm not. I'm not
I
thinking
do wonder
that.
what do they teach in Italy and Germany for World War I? That's interesting.
Oh yeah, World War II. Oof, that's
Or
been
World
a hot
War
topic.
II,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's been a hot topic
Yeah.
lately. But yeah, no, it's just I don't know. You know, there's
War
always
II,
going to
yeah.
be half truths. You know, it's going to be what the government thinks best to let their citizens know. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. I just we need a change, and I think we're starting to see that. But man, you know what I'm kind of getting scared about? Like you said, the radical. It's becoming more radical, and it's not radical in a sense against the system that's oppressing or the system that's abusing their power. It's becoming more radical to each other. So it's like a pendulum.
Yeah.
You have the left getting all extreme, and then it's pushing back and it's creating extremists on the right, you know, and then they're just fighting each other, you know, over their teams.
For so many decades,
Mhm.
I mean, the average conservative has really just kind of been, you know, it's fine. We just be politically correct. Like we don't
Oh yeah, they're
we
done
don't want
with
to
that shit.
argue about any of that.
Yeah, we got
It's
the Nick
just
Fuenteses out
fine.
there
Yeah.
fucking holding it down, man. They're like, fuck that. And
I think that came to a head in 2020.
Mhm.
And it's only gotten worse. And now we're more divided than in my lifetime that I've ever
I'm starting to see this in the younger conservative crowd, you know, that I know.
It's becoming more conservative, the younger kids.
Yeah, and they're done with this shit. Like they're
Yes,
like,
and they should be.
dude, and I get it, but it's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get ugly, guys. You know, you guys better chill out. You know, you guys are fighting the wrong people. You know, you take that energy, like you said, go out there, run for these positions, take over, get all these fucking
Please do it
pieces
soon.
of shit out that are in there. You know,
Yeah.
it's wild, dude. Or like, I just seen Manny Arbarca was on the news. Did you see that shit?
I saw that.
That's fucking wild, man. I was like, damn, dude. I was actually trying to get
I'm
him
like,
on.
go. Go Jackson County for voting him in over me.
The only reason I bring him up is because we were talking about the stadiums, and I remember watching some of the podcasts and him just, oh God, he was the salesman for that stadium relocation to downtown. Oh, it's going to be great for everybody. It's going to be great for the economy. It's going to be great for this and that.
He always has a lot to say.
And then I met Patrick Toohey and I hear his side of it, and I'm like, and granted, I'm not saying Patrick is completely right, but I told you I'm having a guy on that's he's going to debate some of the studies that Patrick has looked at, and he's going to give his take on what he feels is right. But even then, he knows, and we've discussed this. There's really no argument on whether or not it's right for taxpayers to fund it, because he's even said, I understand that side of it, but he just wants to debate the economic impact side of it, because Patrick's saying that there is none, or it's not as much as people think, or it's.
I mean, on a local level, maybe it isn't.
Yeah.
On a statewide level, though, I think that's where the biggest impact will be, because the tax credits aren't a local tax.
Well, he also said that
the state taxes.
I have a clip out there. He used the example of, it's like taking a grocery store, I think is what he said, and uprooting it from one location to the other. You're not increasing anything. You're just moving dollars to a different location. So when it was here, now it's there.
Okay, but currently Jackson County residents only pay or provide the money for these stadiums through our taxes. Jackson County only. So Clay County doesn't, but yet their members come and are season ticket holders. Johnson County, Kansas, a lot are season ticket holders, but they don't pay any taxes to keep the Chiefs or the Royals.
Yeah, so it's all
that is
on
all
Jackson
on
County
Jackson
residents.
County. And see where that April vote went through, it didn't go through, it fell through. I mean, that was simply the Jackson County taxpayers saying, listen, people are losing their homes because of property tax issues. And you billionaires are coming to us and you're asking for more money. So when this whole thing was going down, I remember, people were like, oh, this is definitely going to pass. It's definitely going to pass. And I thought, I just don't see how this is going to pass.
How was it going to pass when barely any information was even given? There was hardly no any plan.
And it was all last minute. It was thrown in the last week, literally the last week. They threw this in. We have these plans. Look at this. And then the Crossroads were like, wait, you're going to put a stadium on top of my building?
Yeah.
Did you talk to me about this?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't. Oh, okay. Yeah. So that was just from the beginning, their whole strategy was a failed strategy.
Just a bit.
Their whole strategy was a failed strategy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was never going to work to begin with. But when you couple that with people losing their homes, the tax issue, I don't know if have you seen an increase in your taxes? You probably got your tax value or assessment just recently.
Since I've been here since 2016, I have steadily got a letter in the mail every couple years. I may be wrong on how many years, but it's usually like your property value has gone up, which ultimately increases my mortgage.
Yeah, because your taxes are lumped with your mortgage.
Yeah, so when I had a $600 mortgage, it's now a $800 mortgage almost 10 years later. It's like, and granted, that's insurance too and stuff like that.
Okay, well, you are lucky if it only went up that much.
Yeah, well, I mean.
In my sister's neighborhood, there were homes that it went up 200%.
Oh my God.
200%.
I know. And I always wonder, it's like, what made my property value go up? Is that, did I do something different? I mean, I did do renovate, but it's like, does that justify for it? Like, what is that? And property tax in general, where the fuck is that going? I would like to know where all that money's going. I would like to know. I would, because
supposedly the property taxes help pay for your school districts.
How are other states though getting away with no property tax, and we can't?
Well, like Florida as an example, right?
Or Texas.
Okay, but so they have tourism that they can supplement with.
Oh, is that how they're doing it?
That's how Florida's doing it. I would assume Texas is doing something similar. But I know for a fact that Florida is supplementing through their tourism, which clearly they have a great.
And I guess that'd be kind of difficult for the Missouri to do.
Missouri has to have something. I mean, truly, Missouri is a wonderful state. Mm-hmm. It really is. We have. A
lot of people are coming here from. Michael Reisinger, who I've had on. I mean, he's came here during, I think in 2017. He left California, and there's a guy I just interviewed, Nathan. Same thing, came around the same time, it's getting too expensive. Everyone, the same thing, too expensive, tired of 2-hour commutes and overpopulated cities. So,
well, and even if we want to break it down even further, I mean, Kansas City is a great place to raise a family.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do we have our issues? 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But, that kind of pulls back into Power and Light. They really want this whole idea of Power and Light to work.
Yeah.
The city is like married to this idea of Power and Light working, but it doesn't work. And here's why. It's not in the right city, in my opinion.
What city should it be in? Like you're saying, just Kansas City in general?
Kansas City in general. I think that Kansas City in general is more of a family kind of focused city. You see a lot of families here. It's definitely not rated very high when it comes to, single life.
I don't know. When I go downtown, there's a lot of people down there. A lot of. I mean, my brother parties down there a lot. More Westport. I feel like everyone's usually
Westport. I think people do party a lot in Westport, although the crime rate has gone up quite a bit. In Westport, but they hired. Every time I've gone to hired Westport, all those like private security. So I think that I haven't heard as much. Yeah, I haven't heard as much about the violence in Westport as like last year at this time. It was bad.
Yeah, there was like a couple of years ago when I'd gone there, and I just went on a random day one time, and there was just mobs of people, and everybody. I remember at one moment just broke out in a panic and ran, and I'm like, "What the fuck is going on here? Holy shit!" It's just Westport's wild. But I mean, what do you think is going to happen when you have a district like that? And granted, we would like everyone to be civilized and be able to have get together with their friends and stuff like that, have a good time. But a lot of the times I tell people, you mix alcohol, and just a bunch of people, there's more than likely it's not going to be very good. So
but that's anywhere, right?
Yeah, anywhere.
Also, the parking downtown is atrocious.
Yeah,
I don't want to go down there just for the fact that I don't want to park my car anywhere, because then you got to park it. You probably have to pay, and then you got to walk, a mile just to get to where you're trying to go, and you hope it doesn't get broken into. The property crimes in general in Kansas City has gone up immensely.
That's what they were saying about that new
cars and everything.
That's what they were saying about that new parking lot I was telling you about in the 18th and the 9th.
Oh, really?
They're like, oh, great, just a central hub for everyone to get their car broken into.
Yeah. I mean, there's people getting their cars broken into like their secured parking garages at their apartment buildings.
Oh yeah, remember Holly was on? She lives downtown. She got her car broken into. I think that day or the day after or something like that. Yeah, it's wild. It's
happening. I mean, we have businesses leaving Kansas City that are located downtown, going over to Johnson County because it's safer. So I
wonder what they're doing different. You think just because everything's more spread out there?
No, I think that for a long time, we've just had a prosecutor who wouldn't prosecute criminals.
Oh, yeah. That's been a big thing, the whole ATV and like the break-ins.
Gosh, did you see that video?
Ran over that cop.
I was shocked.
It's wild.
First of all, that guy had a lot of balls to do that.
Yeah, very. I don't think he intentionally meant to, but I mean, dude, if he's telling you to stop, you're going to take the risk to take off.
It wasn't intentional.
No, I don't think he intentionally. I think what happened is when I seen the video, I might be wrong, but it's been a while since I seen it. What was that? Like a month ago or something like that?
No, it was a little longer than that.
Yeah. Where like he kind of grabbed and then like he took off and then ran him over.
Yeah.
But then he took off. Like you fucked up either way. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you don't.
Well, they got him.
One, get off an ATV. You're on the street for one, but two, it's like if a cop and you're going to take off and there's a likelihood you might run him over and you're lucky he didn't shoot you, so but yeah, no, that
would have been a great news story.
Yeah, I know. The whole ATV
sideshow thing is a big deal.
Oh, it drives me nuts. And actually I have a guy coming on that does the sideshows, but he does them in a location where they bought like a parking lot.
Controlled
cool with that.
Thing.
No problem with that.
Yeah,
but different. When I'm at an intersection and I'm trying to get home, it's just like the protests. Protest all you want. Get the fuck off the highway, please. You don't know what other people are doing. So when you do that, you're being very selfish. And you're saying that my cause or my slideshow is more important than what you have going on.
Of course they believe that.
And to think that people don't have shit to do, or God forbid, some guy's trying to get to his pregnant wife who's in the hospital, or someone's late to work and they're on their last point, they're going to get fired. There's just so many different scenarios. Or they have a kid at home that needs their medication at some point. You don't know. And so you think to stop traffic because, well, that's going to make a point. you probably, people that were on your side and that are blocked on that highway, now they've changed their mind.
Yeah.
You've done the opposite.
Yeah.
It's just, it's ridiculous. We have to think about others. We can't just think that, oh, my stuff is more important than you. Like,
But even the motorcycles, the fast ones. I mean, I'll be driving down the highway, and I think it's really cool to see. They're doing their tricks and all that, and there's a big group of them, 20 of them. But when they come flying past me, and I'm like,
scared the shit out of me too. And I ride.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, if I had moved to the next lane, I would have hit you. I
Yeah.
didn't even know you were coming.
Yeah, if you're going 150 miles an hour,
And it's
I'm not going to
fast.
have enough time. Yeah,
No.
you're going to look, but sometimes you can barely even see. I mean, they're so tiny
They
and
are
so
tiny.
fast.
Yeah. So that's scary because I'm like, if I kill you, I don't know how do I live with that? I mean, like,
and how's it going to look on me? They're going to be like, oh, person in vehicle kills a motor. So they're going to be like, oh, well, they weren't
just
looking.
weren't paying attention.
Yeah, you weren't paying attention. Look twice, save lives, or whatever
Yeah.
they say. It's like, yeah, and that does happen. Like
sure.
I ride, and I've had a lot of people not pay attention. But if I'm going 100 miles an hour, and I decide to fly past you and not give you the time to then that's on me. You know what I mean? How am I supposed to,
or they go
there's
in
no
between
sympathy.
the cars.
Yeah. And I have no problem. Like if you, I think there is benefit to lane splitting in certain scenarios because sometimes it can be dangerous for a person on a motorcycle to be stuck in, like, let's say there's a stoppage about to happen on the highway or something. Like, you don't know if somebody's paying attention. They're going to come in, hit you 3 cars back. You're going to end up dying because you're on that. So I could see a benefit in certain scenarios, but still you take risk. Everything's a risk.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this whole movement of the hundreds of motorcycle, dirt bike stuff and ATV stuff going on the road.
Yeah.
I get it. You want to go have fun and all that stuff. You got to like figure out somewhere else, to do it. Cause you can't be out on the road and then claim boohoo that, oh, we're all arrested. We're just trying to have fun. And I mean, dude, come on, man.
Yeah.
But the thing, this is what
they
the thing
do it
is.
in highly populated areas.
They do because they want to be seen. They want to look cool. And this is the problem, Christina. It's like, it's young people. And I was young too. I was an idiot when I was
invincible.
young. Yeah. You're invincible. You don't think about others.
Yeah.
You want to be cool. You want to be liked.
Yeah.
You want to go have fun. I get that. But man, and this is what I try to tell my daughter. There are, and my father told me, and I didn't listen. There are repercussions to your actions, especially when you're a young, like you're not 14 anymore, you're 20. Yeah. I get it. You're still young and probably dumb. But like you could face real repercussions for your actions, and you really need to think about that.
Yeah.
Like, and unfortunately, when you're young, you don't take that information seriously. And that's a whole battle, but then that's when it comes down to parenting. And of course, that's a whole nother topic that's, we can go into depth on, of just, torn homes and, parents coddling their children, and thinking that they're angels and they're not doing anything wrong. And, it's so weird, it's like, let's go back to, respecting, having respectable kids and being able to hold them accountable. And I get it. There are some parents like mine who raised me and try to teach me the best they could. And I still went out and did stupid shit I wasn't supposed to do, but I paid for it, and that's, it is what it is. You can't put the blame on other people, and we got to stop this whole, he was an angel, he was a good kid. And it's like, yeah, okay, maybe he was, but he did something bad.
But he stabbed someone and killed them.
He did something bad. He ran over a cop with an ATV. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what are we a nation of laws or are we a nation without laws?
But I think that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
We are a nation of laws. But the previous administration didn't always agree with that statement. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where we've really started to spiral out of control. And law and order is important.
Right, and it is. And I'm very open. There was a point where I was even an anarchist, and I thought like, oh man, when I was younger, I was like, not even too young, I was in my later 20s, but I thought like, we got to get rid of the government. We got to get, they're the one, creating all the issues, which I still believe. But to believe that we can just strip that completely down, and live in an anarchist state, which I know Michael Malice will debate that, which I do like Michael Malice, and I do think he has a lot of good points. But I think to have that type of society where you don't have to rely on laws, you have to have morals. And we are a nation that's constantly, I feel like, losing more morals as the generations goes on. And maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know.
Well, I hear that this Z generation and after are, because of the shit show they've seen, you know, for most of their lives, have pretty high morals, and they're becoming very...
Maybe
that's what I hear.
I mean, we'll
don't
see. Good luck getting
we'll see what happens. We'll see how it comes, you know, in like 10, 15 years, you know, what happens with that.
But you know what I mean? Like, to be able to have a nation
supposedly.
that you're not going to need laws, and you have to have a nation with high morals. And that's just, you can't expect everybody to be the same.
Yeah.
So at some point you have to draw a line in the sand. And there's like... Okay, so like the libertarian viewpoint on it, it's like government's job should come down to the protection of its nation with our military.
Agreed.
And the protection of the citizen and its property. And that covers pretty much a lot of things. You know, I don't think you really have to have much, because then people will be like, well, what about environment? What happens if a company throws away all their waste into a river? Well, what does that river run through? Does that run through a city with people in it? Oh, well, then that's harm to the individuals, which is covered under the protection of citizens' health and property.
Correct.
So, like, we can get it
property,
to that.
What property do we own?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because even though you pay something on, you're still paying taxes.
You don't pay your taxes; they take it away. It's not really yours anyway. So,
or they kind of bully you out of it. Like, I remember that one story of that house in Kansas that they like would not move, and like, or no, maybe it wasn't Kansas. Maybe it was a different.
I think it was, Independence or Blue Springs, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
A guy who like,
there's been many different stories on this.
He declared himself his own.
Well, I've seen stuff like that, but this one was where they want to they want to develop on that piece of land.
Oh, and they won't sell.
A lot of people will start selling.
That's happening in South Kansas City right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and some people won't. So, like, one, he was being very, very stubborn about it. It is his house. It's his house.
Yeah. And
they ended up, I wish I remember. I'm sorry, guys. I wish I could remember all these things, but a quick ChatGPT or Google search and just guy who refused to move out of his house, and you'll find all the details. And there'll be many cases. Dom's getting better. At some point, he'll be able to be like, I got that story for you. But yeah, no, it's like they bullied him almost to where they got him. They repossessed his house. Now, I wish I knew all the details on how they did it.
How did they do that?
I wish I knew all the details, but they did. I'm going to find it afterwards. I'm going to send it to you. Just remind me, because I'll forget.
They probably made up some past tax that he didn't pay or know about.
This is where I say
didn't exist.
They're not as dumb as you
30 days
think.
ago.
They're not as dumb as you think. If they want something, they will figure it out. I was actually surprised that when we were talking about the stadiums, that they actually did pass the vote no on that. Like last year when they tried
the voters.
I'm surprised that because I thought they had it they had it. There was no way they were not.
You did? I knew
did.
it wasn't going to pass.
Really?
Yeah.
I just figured. I was like, usually when billionaires want something, they figure out how to get it. So, but now
at the end of the day, the taxpayers, I mean, when you're losing your house, the last thing you care about is a sports stadium.
I know, but sometimes my conspiracy side comes out and I'm like, I
They're
want to believe our votes count. Yeah, I want to believe our votes count, but I've seen some fuckery and I'm like, so I don't know. It's hard. It's hard. With all this stuff that comes out, all these conspiracies that end up becoming true. A lot of them.
Are they conspiracies?
Yeah, they're conspiracies until admitted. So, or until proven.
I mean, I have been called a conspiracy theorist a lot, and I'm like, how can I be a conspiracy theorist if basically every conspiracy that I've thought has come true?
Yeah, there's plenty of them. There's Operation Northwoods, Operation Paperclip. I mean, there's old ones you can refer back to, and you go, well, that was a long time ago.
Operation Paperclip.
Do you think they changed? Like, do you think they changed?
Listen, so
I'll fill you in on all the operations.
I do.
Here.
Well, I would love to hear about that. So the Octopus file, or the Octopus report, or whatever that is filed. So you do need to do a deep dive into that. But that's back into the Reagan times.
Oh, really?
Yes. So,
Old Reagan.
corruption has been going on for generations.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a red and blue issue. It's a politics issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's everybody
Oh, yeah.
at that level.
Yeah,
So
it is.
I mean,
But it doesn't matter, though. They'll just wait 60 years to release the redacted files, and then they'll, here's the information. Everything's got black lines on it. It's just like JFK. It's like, oh, are you serious?
okay,
right
so
now?
I never went through and looked at any of those papers. I mean, did anything get revealed at all? I was kind of hoping that, all the conspiracy
go back
theorists
to
would
Israel.
dig through that and
Yeah.
then, put something out there. But I mean,
from what I've come up with, he got assassinated by Mossad. That's what I've seen a lot everywhere.
by Mossad.
Israel's CIA, pretty much. Yeah.
Israel's?
Yeah.
Wait, where did Israel come
It's a
from?
whole. Oh, don't get me down. Dom, does she want to go down that line? Does she want to go
I'm
down that
talking
road?
about-
Hey, phone my brother. Phone my brother.
I'm talking about in that particular instance because I know like JFK was severe, when like with the Vietnam War and
Well, think
and
about
the,
everything
and the
he was
Cuba
the deep state
and all
he
of
was
that.
speaking about.
And I know, and he was speaking out against it, which people like
CIA
him,
and Mossad are
him,
close.
his brother,
Yeah.
Trump. Like when you speak out against things, I mean, I'm surprised. Robert Kennedy Jr. hasn't. Maybe he has. I think he's gotten death threats.
Some
but
would
I mean,
say his voice is like that for a reason. Because it's hard to listen to him.
to my understanding,
that's really
I think he
I
has
I know.
the spasm in his
I
larynx.
know, but hey, they do weird shit. Look at all the look at the stuff I've been seeing about like during what I'm hearing about on podcasts with the Charles Manson stuff, where they had that dude that would dose him up with LSD that worked for the CIA. And
What? I
yeah,
haven't heard any of
they
this.
made them go crazy.
Well,
yeah.
they were crazy. They did a lot of drugs.
Yeah. Well, no, but they're also the CIA. They've had what's that? I can't remember what operation that was when they were dosing people with LSD. Like they would get prostitutes to get Johns to come in, and they dose them with LSD to see the effects it had on the person's mind. Kind of like
So they did that to
mind control. Yeah, supposedly he was supposedly a. I think they said what year was that? I'm going to get all the details wrong
70s,
here.
wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think it was something about they wanted to make those type like the hippie movements and all that stuff seem very demonic and stuff like that. So he was kind of like a
Interesting.
What is it called? A psyop or something like for the CIA. The Vietnam War was around that time and stuff like
Well,
that.
there's
So
a lot of dark
there was
things that
people
happened with the
speaking out
Vietnam
about
War.
the war. Yeah.
I mean, we should have never even gone over there to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole other.
What operation was
thing.
that about the ship that said they got fired on and it wasn't? It was actually lightning. And that's what started the Vietnam War operation.
Well, I mean,
Gulf of Tonkin. Yeah, that's what it was.
the issue between North and South Vietnam, like that was a real issue.
Yeah.
But realistically, the United States didn't have to involve themselves in
But
it.
we got to stop the spread of communism. And what else do we always say? That's like the Cuba incident.
I
the
mean, they
Cuba
still took
crisis and all
over
that stuff.
southern Vietnam. Like that didn't matter.
It doesn't really ever matter.
A
now,
lot of Americans died, and it didn't like
the
for what?
war in Afghanistan didn't matter either. We didn't win that one either. I mean, the way we had to leave that place was insane.
We
and how
didn't have
just
to
left
leave
them a
that
whole
way. So you
arsenal.
talked about the military and how smart they are on that. But I just, my first thought when you said that was, because pulling out of Afghanistan was a super smart way to do that.
Well, I mean, you leave enough ammo over there.
General Milley was like, leave it there. And Trump was like, why would I do that? That's stupid. Yeah. And Biden was like, cool, sounds great.
Why did our military leave it there?
Because
they were told?
General Milley told him to leave it.
Why did he say that?
Because he said it was cheaper to leave it there.
It
was cheaper to leave it there. But you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, because to my understanding, Baghdad has now been taken over by China.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we turn the lights out. They turn the lights back on.
I see it as when you leave that much ammo over there and
tanks.
and military
I guess there's
vehicle.
no tanks. They weren't tanks. They were military vehicles.
There was a lot. Yeah, but the amount of ammunition and weapons we left, it just shows me that you're just securing another war. You're like, yeah, let's leave them all this shit. That way here 10 years down the road, we can go back over there.
That other side with a way.
Well, we created those sides.
Us.
Al-Qaeda and all that, that's all funded by us. We trained those guys to fight the Russians. So, hey, it's definitely a lot of this stuff, if you look into it, I get it. A lot of people want to roll their eyes because they're like, oh, why would they do this? Well, they've been caught red-handed many times, and no matter how long ago, for you to think that they've all of a sudden changed, that's insane. We discussed power and greed and money.
But don't you think that people just want to inherently believe that people are good?
I do. Yeah, I do.
And some of the things...
But I have to be realistic.
I know, but some of the things that have been done, just even in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, some of the things that have been done sound so outlandish. Like, let's talk about COVID for a minute.
There you go. That's the biggest conspiracy.
Outlandish.
You couldn't even say it was from China. You couldn't even call it the...
You couldn't even say that you didn't want to get the vaccine because you felt something was a little off.
You were going to kill somebody's grandma.
You were going to kill everybody around you. Like, you were the most terrible human in the entire world. And how dare you not put that mask on your face? I mean, the shame. And it's like, wow, that was the greatest human experience.
How dare you put that surgical mask or bandana on your face? It's not going to keep any...
because the bandana was so helpful,
out.
right?
yeah. That's definitely going to keep your viruses out. You know?
You're like, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me get my drink.
I loved when they always move the goalposts. Well, no, it'll keep the spit from getting on. They always moved it more and more and more. You know, or like...
but it sounded so stupid and people believed it. See, that's the thing. It's like, I'm like, oh, well, because I told my family, I'm like, I have young boys. I heard myocarditis is a side effect of this vaccine. We're not going to do that. Yeah. And it was like, well, where would you hear that from?
People were dying from it. People are still dying from it, they said.
Of course they are. Yeah, but it's hard to measure that. But yes. But it's just, how do you, I'm okay. Yeah.
What does it matter? It comes down to make it an option. That's it. Make it an option. That's it.
Forcing it upon people made me not trust it.
Yeah. You don't force something that's good. If it's good, it'll speak for itself.
It will.
Yeah. So it never made any sense for me. But, when you have companies like what I worked at, you sure you don't want your extra day of PTO if you get this? Like, what the fuck? Are you serious right now? Like, no.
Wait, they gave...
Yeah, they would give it. They wanted, because it was only 3 of us.
An extra day of PTO.
It was only an extra day. It was only 3 of us that didn't get it at the shop I was working at.
Yeah.
And I've already told them, fuck off many times, leave me alone. And they were like coming over, and I had the HR guy asking me. And it was weird that, I don't know if they got some huge email from, local political leaders telling them to, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he would come out, or maybe it was just his agenda because he felt like, oh, I have it. I want others to have it. I want them to be in the boat with me. It's like, if I die, I want them to die too. Like... It's like, okay, well, no, and then
you should make better decisions for yourself.
Yeah, it's like also an extra day of PTO on an experimental vaccine. What are we talking about here?
You mean like a whole year of vacation?
Yeah, no, even for that, it's like, I'm good, man. Thank you. Yeah. I listen, and what was funny back then is I would tell people like who I was listening to, and Rogan and a lot of other people that were discussing.
There were doctors speaking out.
Doctors,
and I believed them because they
Peter McCullough.
Peter McCullough. Yeah. They tried to put him, throw him under the bus.
Who was the other guy? It was Peter McCullough, and it was I can't remember the second guy.
Well, there was a gal locally too. It was a woman, and I was on a. I was on a. I could probably get you her. I could probably get that information to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I was on a Zoom call very early on because I had. Yeah, so it was very early on, and I got connected, and she talked, she had a lot of really great information. And in fact, when I did get COVID, she was like, hey, if you need any, ivermectin or anything, just let me know. So I have asthma. So I was told that if I got COVID, I was going to die. And so to be fair, my oxygen got down in the 80s. There was one day where it was pretty terrible. However, I did survive, but I followed the protocols of what these doctors, including this woman, were on this call talking about. They'd been treating it, and what they had found is then they put in the nebulizer and they do the hydrogen peroxide in water, and they said within 10 minutes everyone's oxygen levels went up, and they're like, but there's no money in peroxide.
Yeah. There's no money in ivermectin that's been around,
and there's no money in ivermectin.
Yeah.
So I knew I had resources that I could go to without having to go to the doctor, the hospital. So I had a whole protocol on the fridge, and I'm like, just don't let me go to the hospital. Tell everybody. I'm like, I will die here before I go to the hospital.
And I don't think anybody was saying COVID wasn't real. I got COVID. I lost my smell. I lost my taste.
That was the weirdest thing that I've ever experienced.
Yeah, and it was weird. And I had a cough for a while.
I couldn't even eat.
Yeah,
I was like, ugh.
You get better, you know? I had worse symptoms on just a normal flu. You know, I
had worse symptoms when I had the hand, foot, and mouth disease
from
my little infant gave me when I was, years ago.
Yeah.
It was terrible. I thought I was going to die.
And that's what I was trying to understand. It's like, I was scared at first when it first came out. I was like, holy shit, like this is the end times. This is what I've been waiting on. It's about to be Mad Max times, you know?
Yeah.
But once you started listening, I was looking up the guy's name, Brett Weinstein from the Dark Horse podcast.
Okay.
You know, I know people like to roll their eyes at Rogan now that he's big and popular. Everyone, not everybody, but people do. But during that time, I've been listening to this man since 2013. During that time, he really helped and changed my life on how to have a balanced perspective and also be leery of big media. And and when I seen CNN put him up in his face and they used a yellow filter when he did that personal video of him when he got COVID and he showed that he was fine and he threw
I didn't see that. I don't ever watch CNN. So they put a yellow filter to make him look like he was sick?
I don't watch CNN either, but it was on his podcast. He showed the clip.
Oh, okay.
And he was fucking heated. I would have been heated too because he put his clip up and then he put CNN's clip up and they literally put a yellow filter on the video.
Dirty.
So his face looked all like he sunken in and dark spots and all sorts of shit. And literally he said, I'm fine. I'm taking it easy. I feel a little groggy, but I'm throwing the kitchen sink at it, which is like ivermectin and all these
vitamin D, elderberry, the black seed oil, all that stuff. Yeah.
And so he said, he's like, I'm fine. It told his side. And they're saying that he's using horse dewormer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, when I heard that, I was like, are you fucking kidding? Rogan has millions of dollars. Yes. Do you think he's going to the doctor you go to? No, that's not how that works, guys. Like, we know this.
Yeah.
So to think that man is stupid enough, one, he's not stupid. I know he looks like a meathead and, UFC commentator, comedian, but he's actually, if you listen to his content, a very smart person. Mm-hmm. And for you to think that he would take something like that or just be willy-nilly, whatever you give me, I'll take and I'll promote it. No, he did his homework. He has money, so he has access to way better healthcare than we do. And he was fine.
Yeah.
And for them to shut him down like that it's crazy how they can get these people deplatformed. And luckily he had a huge fan base where there was nothing they could do to him. But that doesn't speak for everybody else.
Well, he had a platform to say, wait, this is fake news.
Well,
this
and
is not
he's
right.
self-funded, so he doesn't have to worry about making anybody happy.
Yeah.
He was very smart on how he did that. And I know now we look at COVID and we laugh about it, but I try not to talk about it as much because I had a podcast prior that we talked a lot about it, but like we can't forget that because that's what's wrong with human beings is that, and me myself included, we get amnesia and we forget about these things and history repeats itself. Mm-hmm. So like when you say, I don't think they would do that to us, you need to look at things just as recent as COVID and think twice. Yeah. Because even though some of those people maybe didn't believe in it, they fell in line with it because their party told them to.
But that's the scariest part.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, it's the scariest part.
How many videos did we watch where they would have their masks off and they weren't supposed to be recording, but somebody else was, and they're like, all right, guys, put our masks on. And it's like, what is this, optics?
Well, it never made sense to me that I would go into a restaurant and I could take my mask off and eat at my table. But if I I went to the bathroom, I had to put it back on. Yeah. I was like.
Or if you didn't follow the arrows.
What? Yeah. I'm still in the same room.
Yeah, I know. Follow the arrows. You're going to get COVID. It's fucking.
I sneezed earlier.
If you sit in your booth with the little glass things behind you, but nothing on the side, you're good. But once you go to the bathroom, like you said, you got to prepare.
You got to prepare because that's where it's going to get you on the way to the bathroom.
Or even, like I said, the bandanas and the surgical masks. I mean, if you work in trades, in order to get any type of microparticles out, you have to have something, respirator, something fitted to your face. Like when firefighters, they don't throw a surgical mask when they're going into a fire. No. They literally, why do you think they have the mustaches only, not the beards? Because their respirator things have to fit in order for them to keep anything from getting into
Yeah.
it, you know? So if you're
To
thinking,
suction to their
so
face.
smoke, so now think of oh God, I'm going blank. Like a small, what is that fucking called? It starts with the V.
Ventilator?
No, like what a virus is, that how small it is, and it can get through things, and you could, breathe it in. So
Yeah,
a
all the
surgical
droplets of it.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like surgical mask. It's airborne.
But what
know?
also wasn't talked about is the level of toxicity within that mask.
Oh yeah, I remember the tests on that. They would test it and stuff, like all the carbon
and the
monoxide.
CO2.
Yeah.
So it was like
the learning
it was
disabilities,
damaging to young, to people's lungs, but especially to these young children when they had to have it on for 8 hours a day at school.
And most of them had cloth masks on. Oh, dude, I felt so helpless. I felt like such a bitch. Like I'm sitting here letting my daughter go to school and deal with this ridiculous. I mean, the amount of mass Nazis at her school were insane. Like, she would come home and tell me, like, one, you have them all segregated on the playground. That was sad.
Why?
Like, they couldn't all be together. They had to be segregated into different groups. And almost from what she said, like you're like apart, outside.
Yeah.
Outside.
Yeah.
Where we don't really have to, you don't have to worry. You know what I mean? Like, and one, we already knew it wasn't affecting children very much as it, like, we knew who was being affected: obese and old, people with pre-existing conditions.
Yeah.
Or pre-existing or comorbidities.
But see, that's the other piece of it that's the sad part, right? People did, like 1 million or more people died from COVID.
Like 0.003. Yeah, and they did, and I know one close who died, and I get that. But do you know what happened with that situation? 30-something years old, fine, got it one time, got ivermectin, was fine. Got it a second time, got denied ivermectin. That was when they stopped it. I don't know if you remember that time when they stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, they cut it off.
Yeah.
And so he got real ill. And actually, him and his wife got real ill. Both ended up on a respirator. And then she made it off. He didn't. And that's another thing, too, the respirator thing, And I'm not saying they were doing it nefariously, but a lot of them were just going to throw them on the respirators. And then I'm hearing that you're getting a certain amount of money to have people on respirators.
They were. And so here's the thing. It's hard to come off of a respirator, first of all. Yeah. So if you're that bad, like, that's hard for you to come back from. Mm-hmm. But in addition to that, so like I said, I've had asthma my entire life. Mm-hmm. This disease was always a respiratory disease. Right? So why aren't you treating it like a respiratory disease? Mm-hmm. Why? They completely treated it very differently. Right. So you should be putting people on nebulizers. Budesonide is a steroid liquid that people can take with their inhalers and all that. Yeah. It's just like there's albuterol, but there's budesonide, which is a steroid version. And so if you're having, or I'll tell you, one of the best things that helped me with my breathing was when I took prednisone. It was like game changer for me. Why weren't they treating it like it was a respiratory disease? Because before they knew it happened, people act like, March was when COVID came to the United States. Well, it didn't come in March. That's when everything shut down. Yeah. But people were getting that in December, January, February. They were treating it like
maybe the year prior. Who knows?
Right. We don't know. But they were treating it like a respiratory disease. People weren't dropping like flies. Yeah. Then all of a sudden they put a name on it, start treating it differently, and people are dying. Mm-hmm. Start incentivizing the hospitals, and people are dying. That whole thing is like, in my opinion, you're murdering people.
Yeah, I know.
You know how to treat this. Yeah. So treat it.
And really, doctors and nurses, they're just going to go by what they're being told.
The hospital was telling them what to do.
Yeah.
And
the doctors that were speaking out were getting,
or the nurses.
Yeah, that were losing their license. Yeah.
They lost everything.
Yeah. But somehow we had time to make dancing TikTok videos in hospitals. You remember that shit? Wild. Yeah.
What a crazy time.
But it doesn't matter,
yeah.
because it's not nefarious. The vaccine was free, everything's free.
It's free.
Like, nothing's free in life, guys.
Paid for that.
Yeah, nothing's free in life. Why do you think they didn't want to give you ivermectin? They weren't going to make money off of that.
Well, I heard that RFK Jr. is wanting to put legislation across or somehow where they ban
Yeah, he just did that.
advertisement. Did that go through?
No, not advertisement,
Oh, okay.
though. He just banned...
Where Big Pharma can't put advertisements out on the television and all that anymore to advertise their medicines.
Good.
I think that would be a good thing. I mean, if you think about it, most money for everything, it comes from Big Pharma.
Yeah.
I mean, that's who's buying out our politicians, who's buying out the news media, like everything with the news, like not everything, but I mean,
for them, they can do their fucking commercials. I don't give a fuck. It's when you force things on people. You know what I mean?
okay, but if they're paying you this to say this, then you do, whether it's right or wrong, because that's how you're being paid.
Right, but it's up to the individual who's going to take their product to do their research. And I know...
Nobody's going to do that.
I know, but we can't nerf the world.
I understand,
We can't.
but just like with the
'Cause then
COVID
if we
shot,
tell-
they didn't tell you the negative side effects.
I know.
They didn't tell you about the studies they did, which were not very many.
But it spoke for itself, right? So now we know, a lot of people know, like, hey, next time this comes around, let's be cautious, Like, let's not...
Do you think? I mean, I think more people
hope.
will be cautious, but
I
I
would
think
hope.
there's a giant handful that they still won't learn.
I would hope. I was trying to look for that damn post. He just did something. He just banned something right now from the CDC.
Well, the CDC finally came out and said they don't recommend the COVID vaccination for children and young men.
I seen that. Damn it! I just had that damn post too. I just get worried because when we start telling private companies what they can and can't do, then they can use that strategy on other people. So it's like, I wish we lived in a world where they did it on things that were a benefit to the American people, but we know how that goes. Once they get that power, it's like the Patriot Act, when it was passed after September 11th. It's like, well, we need this for national security, but you're spying on American citizens. You know what I mean? So it's like, and Palantir, did you see all that whole thing going on?
No.
Oh man, I'm barely dabbling in that, so don't ask me for details. But right now, what they're saying, this whole being able, it's almost like a revision of the Patriot Act almost. Which someone had told me that Trump had actually got rid of that on his first term.
The Patriot Act?
Yeah, the Patriot Act, but I don't know.
Like in an executive order?
I don't know how he did it.
Interesting.
These are the things. There's so much. It's like, how do I stay up to
So
date
they're
on
trying
everything?
to bring that back.
Yeah, the whole Palantir thing. I had something saved on it in my notes, but they were saying like it's some sort of a data collection. Where's that? I thought I had saved it on here. Maybe I should be careful before I speak and look more like an idiot than what I already am. But next episode, Don, should we do a deep dive on that? Maybe. It just came out. There's some type of private company that's going to have access to all our information, and they're worried that it could lead to like illegal government surveillance on citizens and stuff.
Isn't that already happening?
Yeah. I mean, I guess they have more. Or like look at that pharmaceutical company that bought the 23andMe, all the DNA samples that they have. It's like, what are they going to do with that stuff? Is it 23andMe or is it?
It was 23andMe.
No,
it wasn't Ancestry.
Yeah, it's like, what are they going to do with that?
Yeah.
I hope good things, but
I mean, like they have a lot of information.
Probably bad things too.
Through that.
So
lots of experiments.
Yeah, it's Trump taps Palantir to compile data on Americans. That's what they're saying. The IRS Palantir engineers joined in April to use Foundry to organize data gathered on American taxpayer, two government officials said. I don't know.
So it hasn't really been verified yet.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just happening right now. I've been seeing some people discuss it. I'm still confused on it. I'm trying to keep up with everything. I'm like, God, I'm getting it. I'm trying to focus in on this immigration shit. Now I got this popping up. It's like a whiteboard with red lines everywhere, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know what to fucking put. And this is why I understand why people like like Dave Smith, he's more of an anti-war. Like he's very big on knowing a lot about. He debated Douglas Murray. I don't know if you watched that debate. Douglas Murray is neocon, like Israel supporter, and he went on to debate Dave Smith on Rogan and just completely failed. It was horrible. I can't remember who. Oh, I had Rhett on. He was trying to discuss how did he fail on that. I was like, well, when you talk for an hour on telling somebody he's not an expert because he's never been on Israel's soil or Palestine soil and touched the ground, it's like, what are we saying here? So I can't have a opinion on something because I haven't been to that location. If I've never been to California, I can't discuss their politics. Like I don't. What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
It's when debates are happening. It's prove me wrong, not telling me that you can't have a comment or opinion on something because you don't meet this criteria. You're not an expert. That's what he kept saying. You are no expert. I'm like, what? So we're just supposed to blindly entrust in experts? How's that been going for us?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say all experts are nefarious and evil, but we haven't had a good run of some of them. So it's I don't know, but a lot of shit going on in the world.
There's a lot.
It's scary.
Yeah.
But I think it's always kind of been like this, though, man. I think we're just we're more preview to it now because we have those things in our pockets,
That's probably true.
24-hour news.
And you mentioned earlier transparency. I mean, I think we could probably agree now that granted, there's not 100% transparency, but I mean, the current administration probably is the most transparent administration that we've ever had.
Yeah.
When it comes out of the White House. I mean, sometimes he just can't keep his mouth shut, but we know more things because of it.
Yeah, I still think that the system is stronger and more powerful than we think. And when I say the system, it's just rich people that back politicians. I mean, to think that politicians actually make decisions.
True, but
who are they funded by?
Rich people?
Yeah, like people lobbying, making donations to parties.
Well, I mean, yeah, that lobbying happens.
You don't think that's going to play a part in
lobbying happens?
Crony capitalism at its finest?
Lobbying does happen. However, and this may have been for the first time, but we saw a majority of Donald Trump's donations when he was running for office came from average people.
Well, that's good.
So,
yeah,
a majority of his donations that came in,
I think that's how it should be.
They were just normal Americans.
Yeah. Or why do we need to raise millions of dollars for campaigns? I mean, I guess it costs.
I think it costs a lot to travel around the United States and to do all that. I mean, when you're running for presidents, you're not just running in one area. I mean,
does it have to be a spectacle? Does it have to be a show? Does it have to be a big
okay, well, his rallies were very effective.
Yeah.
Well, he had to move to the arena because he got shot at.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah. Which, by the way, what happened to that guy?
He's dead.
Yeah, but it got covered up pretty. I don't hear anything about it.
So I think that's the great mystery, right? Crooks was his name.
Yeah.
I saw.
Who was he?
Well, I saw a video of him. So for all intents and purposes, he was a great student in high school, a great student in college.
They're always great.
He did a video the guy has no prior anything as far as the running in with the law.
And just went crazy one day.
They can't find anything on his social media.
How do you get that close?
How do you get on top of the roof like that? If you have nothing in your background that says you're violent at all, and suddenly by yourself, you come up with a plan to shoot one of the
former president,
the former president or one of the most influential people in the world by yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, the Secret Service, they're not giving information.
He was walking around with the rangefinder. He was like range finding, distancing shit. He was people were supposedly calling him out, and then he still was able to get up there and take a shot.
There's videos of him. People are like, this guy is climbing up the building.
I don't know. He was getting kind of loud. He was getting kind of loud during his campaign. That could be the deep state's finest. But I don't know.
It just doesn't add up.
Well, I wrestle with that because, like, you know, if the deep state wants you dead, you're gonna end up dead. You know what I mean?
He's had multiple attempts on his life.
Yeah, I just, you know, they're good at killing. I mean, that's their job. You know.
Who do you think's behind all of this?
I don't know.
Is it internal or is it international? I mean, in general, people hate Americans. In Europe, right now, the media, like how Trump's being portrayed in the media here in America, he's the devil. Yeah. It's same things happening in Europe. Like, they hate him over there.
I think a lot of people that I've listened to say that, you know, we're pretty much bought and sold. So that's kind of why we can't get out of what we're trying to get out of. But I
think, to my understanding, Europe feels the same way towards us.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we can
go
down.
Gracie is over there right now, and she was telling me that that's what she's been seeing on the news. She was also saying, which is kind of crazy, that in Spain, they have now told Spaniards that they're not allowed, I guess, in the evenings and stuff, what they'll do is they'll bring their chairs outside and they conversate and, you know, have fun and socialize. I guess they're not allowed to do that anymore.
Why?
Because their government said they can't do it anymore.
They
can't go out and talk with each other anymore outside. And she said,
aren't they arresting people for, like, social media posts and stuff like that?
In England? Yeah. Right. That's happening. She said there was some places up in northern Spain where they can't even put their clothes outside to dry because of aesthetics, is what they're saying. But their energy system is so wonky that they can't even have dryers. So that's how they dry their clothes outside.
Yeah.
And so, I mean,
it's like California telling you need an electric vehicle and then telling you, well, you know, you can't use it all the time because we're going to have black, you know, you can't.
They call them brownouts, don't they?
Oh, do they?
I think they call them brownouts.
What's the difference?
Well, it's not as bad. A blackout is like,
that's DEFCON 5. Yeah. Blackout. We can't say that.
No. They're like brownouts, so it's temporary.
Oh, it's temporary.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
but you can't water your grass.
Yeah. We'll believe you.
Yeah, you can't water your grass because there's a shortage of water.
Yeah. We got to save that.
But we can spend $1 billion to build a railway, the train, because that works.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of weird shit that goes on, but I don't know. If you were to ask me, if I was to be honest and open, I think that this whole game, this whole thing is kind of like smoke and mirrors. You know, it's like, we'll say we're going to do some of this stuff and we'll give you a little because we don't want you to revolt. You know, we've learned this from throughout history when you had kings and peasants. You know, you can't have that much of a divided class because people end up not having anything anymore to not revolt. So they're like, well, fuck it. I
but
got
weren't
shit.
there
so
like
let's go.
Lords and all that were part of the middle class?
I don't know how many were there. Was it as even as
Probably not, because like Louis XIV, they all lived with him.
Yeah, so
he provided everything for
them. I don't know, but I would say that we've learned to keep a nice balance. I think that's why everyone's kind of in the position we're in. Because if you look at people, like, we're pretty comfortable. I can't speak for everybody, but most people are comfortable. You know, they have a house, or if they don't, they have aid, or they have, you know, I mean, fuck, everyone here is like, you know, not in shape, you know, not paying attention. The TV is consuming everybody's life, TikTok, all this stuff. So no one's really paying, there are people that are paying attention, but it's like, to what, like, everybody knows we're having immigration problems, but how much do you know? Like, how much details do you know behind it? How much and I get it, a lot going on, but like, I just feel like everyone's complacent. Like, they're comfortable. It's like almost when you get into a job, it's like, you know, you have the skill set to move up the ladder, but you're so comfortable, you're like, or to go to a different job, why? I'll just coast here, you know, it's not too bad. And I feel like it's the same thing for people. It's not too bad to get up and do something about it, you know, and, you know, but it's not good enough to feel like you're getting everything you should be getting. So you're kind of in that weird limbo.
Well, but there's also the perspective of, you know, those of us who have stood up to do something about it. and only to realize that the game is like exhausting.
I know. So what's going on in there? It's just like if you're not a part of the clique, then you're just like certain areas you're not going to be able to get into. Like, for instance, Jackson County. Good luck running as a Republican in Jackson County.
Yeah, I mean, that's the voters.
Yeah.
Yeah, because unfortunately what I see, well, okay.
Well, I guess the beauty is you can move out of those areas.
We could be clear about it.
Yeah.
Kansas City and Jackson County. Kansas City is a part of Jackson County. Jackson County votes red. Kansas City votes blue. Kansas City's numbers outweigh Jackson County's numbers. When you combine all that together for the county legislature, you get blue. Does that make sense? So those in eastern Jackson County, so Independence, Oak Grove, Green Valley,
Jackson County is that,
Lee Summit. Yeah. Jackson County's huge. Yeah, it is. But then also though, when we talk about the city, you talk about city council. Well, that includes Clay and Platte County, right? Because the city of Kansas City is the largest city square footage wise in the nation. We're huge, giant. But we have 3 different counties that we cover.
Right.
Well, in general, Clay and Platte tend to be more red counties than Jackson County is. But it's also true that the voter count in Clay and Platte County is smaller than it is in Jackson County. If those in Clay and Platte County would get out and vote, we would actually see more Republicans running our city.
Why do you think they're not? If you just had to...
I would guess that from knocking on doors, when I was running for office, I literally had a lot of people say, what does it matter?
I love how at the end of it, we're starting to get into your...
No, it's fine.
I'm sorry. We're definitely having you back on, though. This was fun.
But they say, well, what does it matter? My vote doesn't count. And I'm like, oh my gosh, locally is how you make a difference.
I was in that boat too. I know.
It's like, that's how you make a difference. But
I know.
But the mentality is there of why does it matter? My vote doesn't count.
It's a cop-out. Yes.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I always tried to encourage, well, are you a registered voter? Nope. Well, I encourage you to we could do that right now. And I pull out my phone. Would you like to do that now? It just giving people hope. Many people don't have hope that our city's going to change. I mean, why would they? It's been going the direction it's been going for a while. The easiest way, I wish even this clip would get to, if I could have one clip that could reach a large amount of people in Clay and Platte County, it'd be like, I understand what you mean when you say your vote doesn't count, and I get that, how you feel. Yeah.
But let's just try it one time.
Why not?
One time.
It can't hurt.
Let's try it out.
Why not?
Maybe it'll change.
Yeah.
And then if it does, then we know it works. Or if it doesn't, then we know something's going on.
Yeah.
Something weird.
But also, think about it this way, because the presidential elections is always record turnout. Always. It's the big election. Yeah. But these city council, county elections, all of that aren't done during that year. They're done in the off years.
Yeah.
So your number of voters drops. I mean, like by more than half. It's like 17%
but then that also
or lower that shows up. It's insane.
That should also give you the reason to go, because you're not flooded with so many choices. Could you imagine if they grouped all that in 1 year? Like, you'd be looking at the ballot going, God damn, 3 ballots.
4 pages long.
3 or 4 pages. Yeah. I mean, when I went and voted this year, I was like, I didn't even know some of the people on there.
Yeah.
So I'm just
looking. The judges, that's confusing.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, I knew who I was voting for president.
Right.
So I had that, but then because I was not going to vote for Chase Oliver. I don't even know where the hell they got that man at. I was like, what who is this guy? There were so many libertarians. I was like, who the hell is Chase Oliver? And the last time I had voted was for Gary Johnson, like back in 2012, or I don't know what year that was. It was a while ago. But, finally this year I was, half of the libertarians ended up swaying over to the Republican Party to endorse, because he was speaking on a lot of libertarian principles. Yeah. And he did some of them, we appreciate some of them, but some of them, the Doge was the biggest. That's what got him showing up to the Libertarian Convention and promising those things. Even as small as Russ Albright, getting him released from prison, the guy from Silk Road. I don't know if you remember that whole ordeal.
No.
Where they kind of framed him for murder, and it was
terrible.
Yeah, that's a whole nother deal. But yeah, so Doge was, I think, the biggest impact, like to sway the libertarian vote, and to see it now. And I know you said, I think they're still going to continue it just without Elon, but
I don't know, because he just apologized, and so maybe he's back on board.
But he's done though. I think he was only in there temporarily.
Yeah, but he helped form that board.
And then I'm a little upset because I'm like, why were you telling everyone you were going to find this many trillion, 1 point something trillion or 2 trillion or whatever in wasteful spending? And then in the end, we only came out with 1 point something billion. Okay. So,
but do you think that he didn't fully understand the process?
Probably, but don't speak unless you know what you're discussing.
True,
especially
but maybe,
at that high
but
of
maybe
level.
He was just as disappointed as
just
everyone else.
Just don't put a number. Just say, hey, we're going to find some wasteful spending. Like,
I get that.
We all know there is.
Yeah, 100%.
And for everyone who was upset,
which Obama, you showed that video, but Obama has also talked about wasteful spending. Bill Clinton came out and said the same thing.
There was a compilation of Nancy Pelosi, Obama,
Nancy
so many people.
Pelosi, yes. I mean, and Bill Clinton, all of them, they all did it.
What happened to that one protest on Wall Street? Remember that back in the day?
Protest?
Occupy Wall Street. You remember the Occupy Wall Street movement?
No.
When they were protesting Wall Street? What happened to that movement back then from the left when they were like upset about all this wasteful spending, all this bullshit that was going on, and then all of a sudden because Orange Man says it, now it's all,
God, yeah, of course they hate him.
Yeah, we can't do that. It's
they
like
hate him.
And that's the thing where I kind of I'm not saying he's a perfect person. I'm not.
Well, there's no perfect person in this world.
I'm not a Trump loyalist,
Yeah.
I have called, and if people look at my stories on Instagram, I am very open about the things that he's doing wrong, because I follow guys like Ron Paul. I wish Ron Paul would be our president. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Ron or Rand, either.
I don't know.
You don't like Ron Paul?
I mean, I don't dislike. I just. Not as president, I don't know.
Well, I mean, read that book, The Revolution, and I think you'd change your mind.
Okay.
But guys like him who are, I don't know. I think he's a very balanced person. I think he's very fair, and I just don't think when it comes to the game of politics, you can be that. That's where kind of what I was talking about, the smoke and mirrors comes in. It's like, yeah, they'll do things that benefit us, but they're also doing things that are countering. Just for instance, like we discussed we're going to cut the debt down, but we got to add $5 trillion to cut that debt down. It's like, well, the math's not mathing here, guy.
Yeah.
But hey,
that's all part of negotiating, because the Democrats are not going to agree to the $1 trillion in cuts.
Yeah.
They're just not going to.
Which doesn't make sense.
But you have to negotiate somehow, right? So, and to my understanding, that this big, beautiful bill,
if there
they
is
don't
waste,
have enough numbers.
If there's evidence of waste, why is there negotiating?
They don't have enough votes.
And that's another thing. How transparent was Elon? I've been wondering that too, because I remember all the screenshots he was doing on X, and he was putting them out, showing the accounts and stuff and where it was going. Like the whole, the big ones were like the dam in Afghanistan that we sent $200 million, or the Sesame Street in Pakistan, or wherever they, all that shit.
Was weird.
Yeah, but like, why weren't they more strategic? And I could be wrong. Why didn't they compile all this information? Put it in whatever, a fucking binder like they did the Epstein files that they released part 1 of, and then decided not to release anything else.
Yeah, that really blows my mind.
Yeah.
I have so many questions.
I know. So why wouldn't they make something like that and then release it and go, look at it?
I think what they did was they took the most outrageous ones
to show that they were finding stuff.
Them.
Yeah, to show that they were working.
The condoms in. Was it Afghanistan, or where was it? Condoms in Gaza? It was in Gaza,
it was
right?
Something. It was something. They were like 50
million.
Yeah.
But also I had heard that they use those condoms to make bombs.
I was going to say some of them say those condoms explode. So, yeah.
Exploding condoms.
Yeah,
there you go.
Condoms. But no, and the Epstein stuff that really let me down, because he was just on fucking Rogan the other day. What's his name? The dude, the head of the FBI.
Bongino? No.
not Bongino.
Kash
no.
Patel?
Kash Patel.
Okay.
So Kash Patel comes on all these podcasts, and I didn't vote solely for Trump. I voted for him because he had Kash Patel, he had Robert F. Kennedy,
Yes.
Rand Paul. All these people
Agreed.
started endorsing him.
Yes.
I seen this movement. I seen
It's a movement.
Tulsi
That's a fact.
Gabbard.
Yes.
Gabbard was on board. So many people that were like, who was the
Homeland
other one? Vivek.
Security.
Vivek was until he fucking left us.
Okay, but he was never on our side.
He wasn't.
No,
Oh,
I
well,
don't think so.
well, whatever they were saying sounded great, and it's like, hey, we're gonna roll the dice, and we're gonna see what's gonna happen. And the thing that upset me the most about Kash Patel is that he was like, I'm gonna turn the FBI building into a museum day one. Never happened. It's day 100 and something or 200 something, and or no, 100 and something. Right? How long have they been in? Since January? So I don't know, whatever that is.
It's over their 100.
Yeah, it's a lot. And you switched up to wanting to turn the FBI building into a museum, which I'm fine with because I think local PD can handle the work. I don't know why we have to have all these alphabet agencies. It kind of drives me nuts. Give more power to the states. Send those people back to those states to be able to focus on crime in those states. We have a military. They can protect our borders and deal with foreign, intelligence, blah, 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 anybody trying to attack us. Local PD can do, they're fine. We have detectives. We have stuff like that. I don't know why we have to have FBI and CIA and all this shit. But like,
well, FBI is because when things cross lines, they become federal.
why can't they just work together?
Well,
You know what I mean? Like, hey, maybe I'm an idiot. I don't know.
I don't know. Do all states play nice together?
Anybody? Well, they fucking should when it comes to people, and fucking human trafficking.
Which is a real thing, especially in Kansas City.
Yeah, but my thing is, it's like, why can't we? Because we know the FBI has been doing some very outlandish things. CIA as well has been accused of these things, and we have evidence of these things. And when organizations like that gain that much power, I mean, they're going to do some not so good things, and also to keep that power, you got to kind of create a problem. When there's no problems, there's no need for you. There's no need for how many people you have.
There's always a problem. The CIA is always investigating
Right.
someone.
But some would say sometimes they're funding stuff. Like we've heard of CIA planes crashing and having cocaine on them and stuff.
Okay, well, what about all of these planes that just keep falling out of the sky all the time?
Or that, or the drug. Yeah, I liked how they blame. I heard that's more of a, those things do happen. They were just being highlighted more, bigger media.
Really?
That's what I heard. To think that planes don't crash. I mean, planes crash.
There's been a lot of planes.
It is weird. It
There's
is
been a
weird.
lot of planes.
I don't know.
Although that
Could
one
be.
over the Potomac was a big deal.
It could be. It's weird. I'm not going to say it's not. It's weird. There's a lot of weird shit that goes on. But for him to say that and not only not turn the FBI building into a museum, he also comes out and said many times, if you think Epstein killed himself, you're insane. To come out and then be interviewed
think he killed himself.
with him and, or no, he said, if you think, yeah, I said that right. Then comes out with that Gambino dude, whatever his name is.
Bongino,
whatever.
Dan Bongino.
Dan
You never
Bongino.
listened to his podcast?
Nah, I've heard some of his shit. But then them both to sit there and look directly into that fucking camera and go, we've seen everything. They're right. He killed himself. Yeah, he did. Yeah. Did you not see that video?
No, I didn't. And
let
me just tell you that, and maybe I'm naive.
Dom,
I could be naive.
fucking, we got to get you connected to that TV,
Listen,
Dom.
that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I could be naive, but Dan Bongino has been very transparent about a lot of things before, like when he had his podcast.
I don't listen to him enough to know.
Well,
so.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe this position changes you. I don't know. Or maybe there's things that you can't release for
Well, that's what he said.
purposes of national security. I don't know.
What's
I don't know.
national security? That the CIA was probably involved?
Probably.
Like, what is it?
Probably.
Was Mossad involved? I mean, what are we dealing with here? If you don't like
I mean,
people,
that's just like all those drones over New Jersey that they came in and said, "Oh no, we researched it and it was fine."
But if you don't want people making up conspiracies, then be transparent and give the truth. I'm not saying you have to name all the victims, but at least tell us what happened. Yeah, that's what they said. He killed himself.
They said he killed himself.
Yeah, he killed himself. That's what they're saying. And to say that after footage got cut out, guards were asleep, which, okay, I could see that probably happens. But all this weird shit, and then for him to just show up. And then what was there? Multiple autopsies done. That there was one that was saying that the injuries looked like they were not self-inflicted. So I'm also for the possibility that maybe he did kill himself. But who was he? Was he forced? Hey, if you don't kill yourself, we're gonna fucking whatever, whatever. But I don't know. Did he have kids? I don't know. Probably. A sick fuck like that always has kids for some weird reason. Maybe not, or maybe people he loves. I don't know. We're gonna kill him.
Narcissistic people don't really love anyone.
I know. Well, yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. He was fucking psycho, disgusting. But yeah, I don't know. It's just. It's wild. I can't find the damn clip on that shit. Hold on, here we go. I wish I just had one portion of it. All right, you think we'll get kicked off of YouTube if I play that clip, Don? We got to research that shit. I know some people play clips, but they got to blur them out.
Flag you.
You think they'll flag me for just audio?
I mean, someone has to do it.
Yeah, see, FBI Deputy Director.
Is that you?
Nah, shut up.
Someone has to do it.
Yeah, you better not flag my shit, Don. Look.
Have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was. He killed himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file.
Seen the whole file. I don't know. Weird. That's my take. But go ahead and believe old
Dan
Gambino. What's his name?
Bongino.
Go ahead and believe him. I don't know. I think what happens is when you have certain individuals or certain organizations that high up and you bring them in. I mean, could you imagine? I mean,
well, he was former Secret Service White House.
Was he?
Yes. He got out of all of that. And then he started speaking.
What was he saying on his podcast? And was he saying he killed himself? Or was he saying that it was weird?
No, he said it was weird. I'm sure.
Somebody smacked both of them on the hand and was like, Casper, I'm going to make your other eye cross-eyed if you don't align with what we say.
Oh, poor gosh.
Yeah. Sorry, dude. But you deserve that one because that's ridiculous. Like, and if that is the case, then release the files. Don't wait fucking 60 years to release that. That's ridiculous. Like, it took us how long to get JFK? We just got it.
Are those all the files for JFK?
You think that they left everything in there after 60 years? When was JFK assassinated?
That's what I'm saying.
What year was that? Was that 80 years
76,
ago?
right?
Okay, so we're talking about 50
Maybe?
years ago, 50-something years ago.
Possibly.
I don't know. It's wild. I mean, Jimmy Dore, I remember watching Jimmy Dore when that got released, and he's like, you really think that they would release and not even that. It's not even unredacted. Like, it's all blacked out.
It is. Yeah.
National security.
Well, and some of it is names, right?
Okay.
Protecting
Names
individuals.
Okay, but
yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird how he got killed. I remember when the documentaries would come out on the History Channel, The Magic Bullet. I can't believe I thought that was real. I was like, oh,
wait,
God.
is that the one where they
old.
interviewed this gal and she said that she saw a video that had been like cut from all existence for anyone to see, where it was the driver had turned around and shot him?
No, but that did get released, and I watched that video, and you see him pull out, and supposedly he was a Mossad agent too. He pulled out a gun, and then it shot, and then you can see it. But I heard varying opinions on that. Because didn't his
head go back and then forward?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought. So I was always so confused about that. I'm like, if you were shot from behind, why would you? And they're like, no, that's how you would react. I'm like, that just feels weird.
Well, I mean, if you got shot, you could
from behind
and then come back. I mean, what is he leaning back against? Like if you shot me in the head right now, I would do this and I would go forward.
Correct,
yeah.
but from the building, supposedly he was shot from behind, like the back of his head, and then he went back and then forward. That doesn't make any sense to me. How that would happen, right? I mean,
I thought they were saying that he was. I gotta drop that damn redacted file in ChatGPT to get a summary, but then I get worried that ChatGPT is biased.
Of course it is.
Yeah, I know. But you have to draw a line somewhere, right? We have to believe in something, because if you don't believe in nothing, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, okay. So, RFK Jr. was hoping that all of this would get released. I mean, has he come out and said anything about what's been released? Did they release anything about his dad?
I don't know.
That was a really sad situation.
Yeah.
On that Vietnam documentary, they showed that. That was really sad.
Yeah. I didn't get to watch that. What was that on?
On Netflix.
A Vietnam documentary?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Vietnam was a really terrible war. It's tragic.
Yeah, very bad.
We shouldn't have been involved, so.
Yeah, a lot of people lost their lives. Every war is just it.
I agree, but like we genuinely had no interest or we should not have been there.
I mean, it's debatable after 9/11 as well. You know, like there's a lot of weird things that happen there. Like, how do you feel about the Twin Towers? What do you think on that?
What do you mean? What do I think
I don't know.
on
You say you're a
that?
conspiracy theorist. I'm testing this right now. I'm testing this.
I mean,
you believe in the old pancake theory?
Well, I did watch the documentary on how when they caught Osama bin Laden.
Yeah. No, but like,
that was recently, but
15 of the hijackers were Saudi Arabian. And why did we go and infiltrate Afghanistan? Like, what did Afghanistan have to do with that? And
yeah.
Osama bin Laden and his family tied to the bushes.
Well, but Osama bin Laden was in Afghanistan. Wasn't that where he was hiding?
Before. Yeah.
He was like hiding in the mountains. And then when they found him in that, whatever that compound, I think is what
years
they called
later,
it.
but like there was many warnings about that attack that day
for decades.
Yeah, and then the Pentagon, there was not much remains left from that wreckage, supposedly.
The one that have you seen it hit the Pentagon?
Mm-hmm.
How would anything be left over from
because
that?
There usually is when a plane crashes.
When it explodes like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it literally exploded.
Yeah, they
like,
said usually the
flew
wing
in so fast. I had to when they showed the video on the documentary. I rewound it probably 5 times and was like trying to press it, and I not once did my eyes see the plane. All I saw was a blast.
Some say a missile. Hey,
well, then where are the people at for the plane?
You wanted me to get conspiratorial? I'm getting conspiratorial. Not saying all this is right, but it is weird, and it's also weird that they lost a lot of money that day out of 1 point something trillion went missing or something like that because the section of the Pentagon that got hit. I don't know.
Like
files,
safes
I don't know,
or
fucking
what?
Documents, I guess. I don't know. Shit went missing.
Well, I mean, I'm sure things did go missing. Yeah. I mean, the whole portion of the building's gone.
I got to get you on the zeitgeist. You know, a lot of people talk shit about the zeitgeist, but there's some stuff that I question on that. It's a documentary, old documentary. I think Jordan Maxwell actually narrated it. But
zeitgeist?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they tried to say that thermite was involved in the collapse of the Twin Towers because a lot of the zoomed in video, you can see what looks like thermite, like almost comes out kind of like a sparky liquid type of flame. And there was a lot
from the plane?
No, it was a lot of air. No, that it was already in the building.
Okay, so, but do they put that in the buildings, like the walls for stability or anything like that?
Explosive. No, they're not doing that. But
so it was built that way.
I'm not saying I believe. No, they're saying that was planted. I'm not saying the dancing Israelis or stuff like that went on, like the people that were cheering, the Israeli people that were cheering about the Twin Towers coming down, and their whole thought on it is that Israel wanted us to get into war in the Middle East to help them because they're getting hit left and right by everybody over there. Yeah. I'm going down the conspiracy route here. I know, but either way, other than that, the way that all that happened, weird. Okay, the collapse, how it collapsed. Tower 7's weird.
Okay, but
how the hell did Tower 7 collapse?
It like the top floor went and then like literally just pancaked like all the way down.
Yeah, and there's a lot of architects and engineers that have came out and it's debated. I'm not saying they're right. I'm just talking about this stuff. And if I'm completely wrong, anybody can come on here and discuss it with me and give me actual evidence on their side. I'm up for change. That's one thing about me. I'm not concrete into something.
Right.
But when I see something and I go, well, that's kind of interesting, we have to talk about it. But when you're being told that buildings like that are made to withstand those impacts, airplanes, they're made to withstand that, and that jet fuel doesn't get hot enough to melt that type of steel and to be able to make it warp and collapse like that.
But it wasn't just steel; it was concrete.
Right, but the structure's a steel structure. So to make it, they said what
With
happened.
concrete floors?
Yeah, huh?
With concrete floors.
I don't know what the floors are made out of. I know the skeleton of the building's made out of steel. So whenever you have, like, the other side is saying that everything's warping, so that's what caused the pancake effect when it started collapsing in on itself.
Or maybe the plane went in and took out a whole bunch of the pillars when it hit.
Maybe.
And that would affect the integrity of the building.
But if you look at some other ones that they've shown, some other buildings that have had an airplane crash into it.
That big?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that big, but it could have been a smaller building, smaller plane, some of the images I've seen. So to see that, or even like
These were really tall buildings.
or even like the Oklahoma bombing, whenever they did that, you've seen not the entire building collapsed in on itself. It blew out a portion of the building. Now, maybe hard to compare because it's two different scenarios, but those buildings are very strong structures. And to see both collapse like that specific style, and then not only that, I could understand compromising with people and saying that possibly could have happened to where the structure did get weak and it collapsed. But how do you explain to me Tower 7, the tower that was down the road or however close it was to it, that it caught on fire and that's how it collapsed in a demolition style? That makes no sense to me. So Tower 7's a weird one. If you can explain to me that one, I can give you the Pentagon, I can give you the Twin Towers, I can give you the one that went into the field or whatever, but Tower 7's weird. To say that one caught fire and was on fire for a while.
Well, the one
and
that went
completely
into
collapsed.
The field, I mean, people called their loved ones.
And I'm not saying that. I'm not even on board with the whole missile thing. I'm just saying these are things that are discussed.
That's the first that I've heard of a missile.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've heard for the Pentagon.
But literally, like, I kept rewinding and I'm like, I finally was like, I don't see it. Literally didn't see it.
But doesn't that like, oh, that's kind of curious.
So now you got me thinking.
I know.
Kind of weird.
And I'm not saying it is.
Because I was literally like,
something to think about.
Just
food for
2
thought.
weeks ago.
It's weird.
How come I can't see the plane hitting the Pentagon?
Yeah, or how
in
many
in this video?
Or how many times the NSA was warned about? Or NSA is it NSA? They're an intelligence agency, I think, right? NSA. National Security. But they were warned about it. Supposedly, a lot of organizations were warned.
How is that different than
National Security Agency?
World War II, Pearl Harbor.
What? Oh, some say that was.
They were warned ahead of time, and the military ignored until it was too late. In fact, that morning, they went out and sunk a Japanese submarine. The submarine is still there at the bottom of the ocean.
Really?
Yeah, and the missiles are still in it.
Damn.
They never got shot off.
Really?
They went out, shot it, it sunk. They came back in. They just thought, those planes were like the B-52s coming in.
Yeah, I don't know.
They were warned about it, but they just ignored it.
People would just chalk it up. Well, you can't catch everything. It's like,
okay, but
right. Well, at least be aware. At least you could have informed, hey, there's a possible attack. We don't know if it's real or not, but be ready.
Or don't you think that's kind of weird? Like, they literally that morning shot down a submarine. And it was just a 2-person submarine, so it was a real tiny, Japanese submarine.
There's a lot of weird stuff about World War II.
And then what? And then they get attacked, and 1,000-something people die in Arizona and others, and just literally, like, that is just the worst way to die. Just drown to death.
Yeah. So the best way
you're stuck
for the government, like what to do, is just to come out and to admit, like, hey, sorry, we fucked up. Like, not much easier, but egos get involved.
I think that has been said.
Have they? Okay.
That, they were warned.
People make mistakes. Look at the USS Liberty. I know that people like to say that, and it is a possibility that Israel targeted one of our ships, but it also could be a mistake too. Who knows? Like there's a lot of the times there's not enough information, and then we rely on documentaries and hope that but
that's only one perspective.
That the testimonies, and documentaries are going to be biased, and it's hard to decipher all this information. And the only way, if you truly care about your citizens of your nation, you have to be truthful, even if it, some people get, lose their jobs from it, or I would hope go to jail, but we know that doesn't happen to them. But at least not to the majority of them. But People just have to be held accountable, and transparency is needed. And I think if we did that, we'd gain more trust from people, and we wouldn't have the whole, what's voting for doesn't matter anyways.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You mean if there was trust just in the system in general?
In the system itself. If there's no trust, then, what is this? What are we doing? I mean, if you think about it.
But also, Clay and Platte County has a lot of middle-class people who they literally get up, they do the daily grind, they go to work, they, do what they need to do to survive. They generally want to be left alone. And so then going to vote is just like an added thing to the day that just doesn't sound fun at all.
Yeah. And is there any incentives for them? Because then this goes back to the whole, it's going to be good for you guys. The stadiums are going to be great. I don't feel anything in my pocket.
Yeah.
Exactly. What do you mean? Like, we're going to have fun. That's cool, or whatever. We're going to have I guess more money in the in this certain place where businesses around them are going to be financially compensated. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, but
how
not
does that
around not around Arrowhead Stadium.
But how does that help
it's a whole
me
desolate
though,
area.
as a working citizen that you take 3 months out of the year of my pay?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like not local, but for taxes and as a whole. So if you're saying, if it's always a play on words, we were just discussing that earlier. It's just they are good manipulators at playing on words for the people, and we buy into it, and it is what it is, and it sucks. And then people lose hope, and people lose faith in their government. And honestly, sometimes I think that the government does that intentionally at times, because the less eyes on them and the less less force that's given back from the people, the easier it is for them to get away with their own personal agendas and their own financial gain. So,
but don't you think that's part of what Donald Trump's success was? That people trusted him.
Yeah. And he has, well, technically he probably has another year if you think about it. I mean, because after that, what's it for?
Start campaigning and all that.
Yeah. I mean,
for others,
he's not going to.
Yeah.
And who's going to take his spot? Probably J.D. Vance, I'm guessing.
Well, I would assume, although his son came out and said, I would run for president. And I was like, whoa. Okay.
Oh, his son did? Junior did?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. I don't know, man. Get a fucking normal dude in there, man. I get it. And
J.D. Vance, I'd say, is generally pretty normal, military guy.
I'm talking about get that guy that just had a 9-to-5, but 2 days ago. Get that guy in office, man. Like get a guy that's in.
That's not going to happen on the presidential level.
Why? Because
I agree.
If they were successful,
they don't have the money.
Because we said Donald Trump's a normal guy, right? I mean, to an extent, normal.
He's a billionaire, but outside of that,
he's not a politician. He didn't go up the ladder of
100%.
Running as
but he has
this and this.
Money, and he has fame, decades of fame. And he has friends from all over the world.
I know.
He was friends with Nelson Mandela.
We got to get off of this fucking blue check mark worship.
Yeah.
What? I don't get it. I know these people look cool and they're everything that we want, money and fame and status, but there's so many cool, normal people in your area. And really, my idea, like I explained to you, of giving power back to the states, I get it. I know why
he believes.
He does, but he still doesn't want to end the Fed completely, which we can have a whole debate on that. But if states were to have power, then we would be able to control things more. You know what I mean? Without the federal government interrupting stuff like the whole DEI and all that shit. It's like, well, that wouldn't even exist unless the state wanted it to, and it wouldn't be forced, and then you can decide. And I get it. We're supposed to be a United States of America, but how's that going so far? If the states had their own power to dictate what they should do for their citizens and what their citizens are voting for, if you don't like something, then you have a beautiful option of 49 states, or well, I guess Hawaii, but 48 states will say that's, if you're in the middle of the map, you have all these states you can go to that you can decide this fits best with my life and my family.
Absolutely.
Now, granted, I'm not stupid, and I do know that not everybody has that choice, and that sucks.
Well, and if your family's here, you're probably not going to leave.
Yeah, and I get that, but then that just, We
But
can't,
the option's
we can't fix
there.
we can't fix everything.
Right.
The option's there.
The option's
yeah.
there.
Is that or would you rather it to where the federal government tells you every state what they should be doing, and then you have no option?
That would just be terrible.
Yeah, no option. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people that think that the Electoral College should be eliminated.
Oh yeah, I think that's stupid. I'd rather be on the popular vote. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, because then they're like, well, what happens to the small cities? And
I mean, they don't have a voice. I mean, Trump won the popular vote, but that was the first time a Republican won the popular vote since Reagan, I think, right?
I understand. I don't know. But when and I'm not going to sit here and I know everything about the Electoral College.
People
I get that.
come crawling out from in the gutters.
But they still only target certain states because that's like, well, if we win this state, this state, and this state, then we have it in the bag, So really, I guess
True.
It wouldn't, even with the popular vote, it would still probably be that way though if I think about that because they're going to have larger numbers.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like people in Nebraska their voice would never be heard.
But why? How does it make sense that just
There's
because someone won
there.
how does that make sense if somebody won the Electoral College, but didn't win the popular vote? How does that make sense?
Because
has that ever happened? I'm sure. Right?
Yeah. Well, George W. I mean, Trump was the first Republican to win both the Electoral College and the popular vote. I want to say it was since Reagan. I think Reagan was the last to do that.
Really?
I could be wrong on that, but I think it was Reagan.
If more people voted for you, but you won because your state has more credits or whatever that thing is, they have numbers on all of them.
The states with the largest credits, California, New York,
Texas, probably, yeah.
Texas and Florida. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, Florida's gone both ways. It hasn't always... More recently, it has gone very red, but it has not always been that way. It used to be very purple. It used to be a swing state.
Yeah.
Florida used to be the state where it was like, oh man, we got to win Florida.
It's coming down to Florida.
We don't know which way it's going to go, but it has to be Florida. It used to be that. Now, since, they've done very well in Florida, I would say. Yeah. And they have they're run very well.
Yeah. Weren't they just discussing cutting property income tax?
You're right. It was income tax. I think we said earlier it was property tax. It was income tax. But again, they can subsidize that through their tourism.
What happened with Trump he said he was going to go after income tax and give everyone $5,000. What happened with that?
Okay, but isn't it part of the big beautiful bill with tax?
They did. Did they do that?
Isn't it all part of that?
I don't fucking know. I got to drop that file in ChatGPT to get a summary
yes,
too.
It is.
04, W. Bush.
What?
See? Oh, it was Bush.
Really?
Okay, it was 04. And that was controversial, wasn't it? Because that was when Al Gore Bush won Florida.
Yeah.
Al Gore said, no, he didn't. And
Al Gore also has been telling us we're going to die since I was a kid.
He also invented the internet, so it's fine.
Yeah. He said he invented the internet? Oh, my God. Oh, man. I don't know what to believe in that. It's weird. It's a weird world. But looking locally then, how do you feel like do we have dates on when the next when is voting and all that? Like when's the next one? Is it a while from now or when? Because these are the things
today.
Yeah, these are the things that I need to look at
2026, November 2026.
Uh-huh.
Will be the next big, for the county, will be on the ballot. I don't know what questions and all of that's going to be on the ballot. Right. I don't know if all that's been figured out yet, but that you'll see that in 2026. There's probably, and maybe not, going to be another, an election in April, but it wouldn't be like the main one or the big one, if that makes sense.
When they
it's not presidential.
I know as council members, right, you have to run as an independent, right? Like you don't run as a part.
City council, yes. Okay. You don't choose a side. You run.
But we know who's who, right? Yeah.
Basically. You can tell who's who based on who endorses them. If the unions are all endorsing somebody, you can guarantee that they're Democrats.
That's my issue with unions, because I would
FOP usually does Republicans.
And I would,
oftentimes,
and I've been
not
looking
always.
at actually joining a union, but just because of pay, like they are leading the way on salary.
You also have to pay into
benefits, yeah, which I understand.
Yeah.
But I feel like they are leading the way on wages and benefits. But I don't like how they rely on majority of the work
say it's
from
mostly government.
Yeah, and I get it, because the private
who else
sector's
can
hard.
pay?
Well, I mean, when you're a tile setter and Pedro can do it for X amount of dollars, that's way lower than what you can do it. It's going to be kind of difficult to compete with that. So you have to fix that problem in order for them to probably pull back and be able to get back into that market. And so right now they're just trying to save themselves, and they're like, well, fuck, this is the work we can do because we have the credentials to be able to bid on this work. And, but yeah, everything has its pros and cons, but really with government, like I agree with you, like locally wise, let's get out of our, get our heads out of our ass, stop worrying about the same two stupid. It's either abortion or immigration. That's all we ever worry about. It's like, let's start looking at that. And I get it, those things are important. But let's start looking at these things that are affecting us here locally, like you said. So when 2026 comes around, let's start paying attention. But also too, these people that are running and, the leaders that we already have, man, get more into the game of and more hip to what people are, however you're.
Well, listen to what they're saying.
Yeah, however you're getting your information out there, which I will give them credit. Yeah. I have seen a lot of them going on podcasts and local podcasts and radio shows, like, Pete Mundo has Mayor Lucas on, whatever.
He does, on Monday mornings.
How long is that going to last? Because I seen them kind of going back and forth on Twitter the other day.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, he was kind of calling them out because...
I'm sure they'll talk about it on Monday.
Well, Lucas was talking about the whole LA stuff. He started giving his opinion on that.
What was his opinion on
very
that?
Very vague. You have to look on X.
Very vague.
It was very politically correct, or very politician.
Well, everything with him is very politically correct because he literally has an agenda.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
he does. Not very too many people are happy with him. I'm not happy with him because the way he handled COVID was ridiculous. But that's also, again, when the federal government slaps you on the hand and says, if you don't follow this or you're going to get your funding cut off, what do you do? It's like, states don't have power.
We could talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the COVID money that was funneled into the city of Kansas City and to the county, lots of questions on how that money was spent.
Yeah, where's it at?
I mean, there were rumors. Now, nobody's verified this, but there were rumors that, some of that money got pocketed by city council members.
Oh, there was a lot of weird shit. Even how people were considered essential. Like the job I was working at, the only reason we were essential is we were making government parts. Like military parts. So how is that essential?
In case you went to war.
Yeah, I guess, in case you go to war, I guess. I don't know. But it's just weird. Weird ways to skirt around
listening to, there are good people running for office. Unfortunately, many of them don't get voted in. The ones that have the right heart, the ones that genuinely want to make a difference and to help.
Or they're probably not getting enough funding to be able to back
Don't get enough funding, therefore they don't get voted in.
Or they're getting pushed out. Like, look at Wes Graves. Like, he literally, I think he was a North Kansas City council member for 6 or 7 years. Literally grew up in North Kansas City, left, now lives in Lee Summit.
So he was a council member and then he got booted out?
No, he left. I think he resigned. You know why, though? You should watch that episode. Back when they were wanting to put the BLM stickers on all the windows of businesses and stuff like that in support, they were trying to create a list. And he was like, whoa, we can't create a list because if some people don't want to have it on there, they don't want to be targeted
businesses' windows?
On businesses. Yeah. Yeah. From what I can recall, my memory's vague, but they were going around and they wanted to create a list of people that were going to participate. Like a list of businesses. These are the ones that participate. Well, if you do that, they're going to know who the ones that aren't.
Yeah.
And then are they going to vandalize that business? Are they going to protest that business? Like, that's not right.
Yeah.
And it's not right for you to put somebody in the position of that. Like, if you wanted to go around and door knock and ask businesses, hey, would you like this sticker on? Fine, whatever. If they want to, they want to. If they don't, like.
Some people just want to stay out of the politics.
And that's what it should.
And that's okay.
They should have that right.
Yes.
Yeah, they 100%. Should have that right. You should be able to do whatever you want with your business because when it comes down to business, that's when usually companies, unless you're like a really big company and it's Pride Month and all of a sudden you're all about pride and you make all your
but have
symbols.
you noticed this year?
It's kind of dwindled. Yeah.
Well, because the Pride Parade didn't get Target.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get some of their big
I think
sponsors.
Target, because they got protested pretty bad during that DEI deal.
Yeah, they did.
Oh my God, people are wild. But stop forcing people to meet
That's the issue.
to
issue.
align with your
100%.
Ideologies and your own whatever the hell you believe
Yeah.
is right. If people don't want to, they should be able to have the freedom to be able to live the lives they want, as long as they're not hurting anybody.
Well, I say violence, would be.
That's it. But when you're making up, even like that guy, they call him a white nationalist. They were doing that protest, walking around all with masks on and military
I saw
boots.
that. They came in one day and then they left. Like there was only like 10 of them or something.
I don't know much about him. I listened to one of his interviews on PBD. He was on Petra Davis' podcast. Okay. He's from Missouri. I can't remember his name.
Oh, interesting.
I would sit down and talk to him. I have dude. If you are a person who is white and you believe that you want your race to be protected or whatever your agenda is, if you want to have like-minded people, I see that no different than where I see brown pride or black power or what. Like, why are we making others seem bad when you are doing the same thing? Because they're what? Like, if they're saying, "Hey, we're not racist. We just like to hang out with other white people, and like we like to talk about like more of empowering people who are white." What's that difference between the black guy or the brown guy saying we want the same thing for ours? It's like, if you ask my opinion, I would love everybody to mix, but I'm not going to force you to.
Yeah.
Now, if you're saying I'm going to go hang and shoot every minority out there because I'm about white power, that's a different story.
Yeah.
That is someone's going to fucking clip that, bro. That's a different story. Okay. You're trying to incite violence on people. So that's different. Now, I could see that where that becomes an issue, but then we get again too, are they just talking crazy? Is that something can you arrest somebody for saying something like that, or do they have to actually commit the crime? Because now we're getting into the whole minority report.
They have to actually commit the crime. So I mean, I think that's the other piece of it, because this falls under
freedom of speech and
and even a lot of domestic violence situations, which we're seeing an increase of that in Kansas City. Right. But domestic violence, and it's like, well, you can threaten somebody. Those are just words. Mm-hmm. When somebody calls the police for help, the police are like, can't do anything. They didn't do anything to you, so I can't do anything. Like, but he threatened me, but he didn't do anything.
I know, and that
it's
sucks.
Such a tough.
But self-defense, I always tell everyone.
And then someone dies, and it's like,
when it comes to self-defense, you are the first that should be your line of self-defense. Like, you can't rely on agencies like police or whoever to save you.
Yeah,
they're usually showing up after the crime was committed, and that's not because they want to. That's just how it is.
That's how it is.
They can't fucking mind read and teleport to your location and save you.
Yeah.
So this whole thing of like, and not even that, the same people that a lot of the times are bashing the police are the first ones fucking to call them.
Dude, what's with that? I mean, congressmen and women, or Beyonce. Yeah. I hate the police. Man, I don't understand why you guys aren't here trying to protect me.
Yeah.
Don't you see I'm at this Super Bowl and I need to be protected?
Or not even that. Like, if you want to say that, then I better not see you with private security. Because just because you're rich and you can afford private security, they don't need guns, or we don't need cops, or we don't need that. Then I better not see you with private. You better be walking around with nothing.
Cori Bush did that on
really?
In St. Louis. She congresswoman in St. Louis, and she did that, and she lost her race.
It's because they listen to this. They live in a delusional.
Yeah,
reality.
Well, she was defund the police.
Yeah.
And then she had her own private security because she's like, my safety is in jeopardy.
Yeah.
I have to have private security.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I'm telling you, I used to be all of these things. I used
She
to
lost
be
her election,
we don't
so.
need police. Fuck that.
You
blah,
did?
Blah. Yeah, I've been in all these.
What?
I've been through all these different
what would make
forms
you
of
think
life.
we don't need police?
Because I think people should hold themselves accountable for their safety, and I think that sometimes when agencies, like I spoke about the FBI and the police too, is
But
also
then there's no rules. There's no law and order.
no. This is the thing. So at one point when I was in that state of, I thought I was an anarchist. I believe that people can live in a society where, well, I thought this at the time, where they can basically live and, defend themselves without an organization like the police department, to where it's a possibility where they are corrupt and they're doing things that are not right, which we
happens.
see.
Yeah,
So
that happens.
my thing is like,
Yeah.
if something's corrupt, abolish it. You know, if something is corruptible, abolish it, because we can't have this, well, they are bad, but they do good, and I still have that same I still feel that same way now. Now, I don't mind having police. I don't think that we should defund them, but I do think that they need to allocate their funds maybe in better training or, stuff like that.
Well, it
or
doesn't
better
matter right now
pay,
because their numbers are down.
Yeah. Well, I just listened to the police captain on one of the podcasts, Interrupt KC. And the police chief, the lady, I can't
Stacey
remember
Graves.
his name. Yeah, and she was saying that they were at 1,100, but after a couple of classes that they have that are pretty heavily, like people have signed up.
More people are starting because I
the
usually go
administration,
and for my job, I go and speak at the academy classes.
Yeah, well, people feel more like they have more. They're more guarded now that the new administration is in. They feel like they're going to be backed more.
That's why we've seen an increase in our military. Too.
Yeah, exactly. So they said they should be at like 1,400, I think, by mid-year or something like that. So they're getting their numbers
that's great
up.
for sure. But in the meantime, when their numbers were so low, like through the whole COVID time and defund the police and all that, I mean, the residual effects of it didn't just happen immediately. It was years later they were seeing it, but people started retiring because it wasn't safe anymore. And in addition to that, they decided, I mean, like people didn't want to be a part of that. So recruiting was down
for
a
sure.
lot. Like, I mean, I want to say KCPD had less than 10 on some of their academy classes.
Yeah. And also too, though, I think a lot of it, I think from what I've heard from, certain individuals as well, is that they're made to do things that they don't like to do. Like the whole, the revenue, you ever heard the term like, oh, it's the end of the month, we're going to start seeing a lot more police presence out on the roads,
Or,
they have quotas,
like pulling over or giving tickets and all that.
Yeah. I would more of them be fighting actual crime. And I understand what they're thinking, the tactics of like, if we put a guy out on the side of the road, it'll deter people from speeding. But all they do is just slow down, and then once they're out of your sight, they're back up to 90 miles an hour.
True. But see, also, before, when they were at their amount of officers that they needed to have to really be efficient, right? They would have a lot of community programs. Community programs can help deter crime. So officers, in the neighborhoods, playing basketball with the kids, building relationships, gaining that trust with them, right?
To an extent, though, because you got to remember,
they used to have those programs. They
want,
can't do that right now.
Yeah, and remember, those areas have to want to change as well. So, like, if we're discussing like down in the 30s, down south, they call that like the triangle, where like most of the violence comes out of. A lot of the homicides come out of that area.
Terrible.
Yeah, I worked down there for like a year and a half. It was horrible. Shootings, like I was on a project down there. I mean, shootings, like every time I'd hear gunshots, it was insane. And just the amount of chaos, just crackheads and homeless people and people fighting, and it's just different world down there. But like they had a documentary on PBS, which, by the way, you haven't responded to one of my comments. They're very upset about not getting public or taxpayer dollars to cover their 13% of their revenue.
Can we just talk about how they nobody else is private or funded by the government. Other radio
All I
stations are
said-
privately funded.
all
What
I-
in the world?
All I asked them is that, like, don't you think you could go to a sub-base model where that could cover that 13%? Like, if you're that good and you're that needed by the people, I'm sure a $1 donation is
Their 13% that they get is a larger budget than many radio stations in Kansas City as their whole budget.
Yeah. Well, I say cut them all off, because when you start giving taxpayer dollars to certain media outlets, then you'll start having biased opinions.
Yep.
I don't
Which is
like
obviously
that.
happening.
Yeah, and if you say, well, some people can't afford it, then make it affordable. Who can't afford $1?
Can't afford what?
To do like a subscription based, which they have, and it's what I was told they have. But if you do, then if you need to make up the other 13%, then somehow make it more accessible for more number of people. Like if you drop it down to $1, and that makes 50,000 more people sign up.
What is
good chunk of change.
Okay, wait. Why are they having to pay for a subscription? Like with the radio, or radio.
PBS? I don't know. I don't even know if they have it. I was just
Television's
told that.
free. Public, broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
That's,
Well, I'm sure they have to pay the people that they're making these documentaries.
Yeah, but you make your money
and-
through advertising, just like
Right.
everyone else does. All the
Right.
other news channels. That's how people get their money, through
if you're
advertising.
getting your money from private sectors,
Through
then
sales.
I'm fine with that. I know you're probably going to be biased to those private sectors donating, but
Well, that's happening anyway.
yeah, but that's fine with me because it's a choice. It's a choice of those people donating.
For sure.
And it's a choice for me to watch. But when you're taking my money, it's a different story.
Yeah.
So all I did was put on there that, and of course they didn't acknowledge it. And I like Weekend Review. That's where I found Patrick Toohey at. I like that show. I think they're pretty balanced.
He's on Pete Mundo a lot.
Yeah, he's on Pete Mundo a lot. I like that English dude or wherever he's from, the guy that runs that. Have you watched that show, Weekend Review?
No.
Well, they have a show, and they have usually that fucking guy from the Kansas City Star. What's his name?
Kansas City Star.
Yeah, what's his fucking name? I don't know. Dude's his takes are very odd. Or they have that
I literally hate the Kansas City Star.
yeah, they're definitely
read it.
ridiculous. that last one. Oh, they just came out with an article from yesterday, and they had this girl named Jessica Saucedo or something like that. She's been deported 5 times. So she has like her sign.
What?
Yeah, from like 2012 to 2015. But I have been trying to find information on this woman.
Wait, stop.
Yeah.
She's been deported 5 times.
Yeah, and she says she's a citizen.
From 2012.
Or her father's a citizen, which gives her dual citizenship from Mexico and
No,
I don't know
not
how that
unless
works.
she was born here.
Yeah, I don't think she was born here.
Okay,
But I
well
think
then you're not.
I think her father is a United States. I don't know. I want to go down I tried going down the rabbit hole of it all day today. I've been trying to find her name and I couldn't even find her on the FOIA list where they show the deportees for those years. I can't find her fucking name on there. So I kind of want to.
So she may not exist. Is that what you're saying?
No, she does. She has an
Okay.
Instagram and Facebook. I found that.
Oh,
but
okay.
I want to reach out to her. But before I reach out to her, it's like I need to have actual
Facts.
evidence first, because if I have you come on, and I'm not saying I've had everybody that has came on has been factual. I know there's room for people lying.
For sure.
But I at least want to know, because I don't mind talking to her, because I do want to know. I'm not naive to think that the government doesn't make mistakes. For sure they make mistakes.
But 5 times?
I know.
I don't know. Something seems weird.
I know.
So since 2012.
Yeah, 2012,
So
2015.
that was
That's what
Obama.
the sign said. Yeah.
That was Obama years.
Yeah. Oh, I looked that up too. So I was fucking with ChatGPT today, and I put, has Obama had any unlawful arrests and deportations?
Well,
Well, they said, this is weird when it comes to the AI tools. So
Oh.
it says there's no articles found,
Oh, okay.
but
They just put them in cages.
no, yeah, I know, but there is. And I'm like, I have all these notes. I'll show it to you after we're
There's
done with
not,
all
but
this
there
stuff.
is.
Yeah, there's not, but there is.
That makes sense.
But to think that you were the deportation in chief, or the deporter in chief, whatever they used to call him.
Yeah.
And there wasn't any errors made. I do know of one I did see, and I think this is where a lot of the people refer to when they talk about the cruelty or the horrible conditions they were in and blah, blah. There was a detention center in Florida that actually ICE did cut ties with because of that. So they did get caught. There was like spoiled food or cockroaches and stuff like that, or people getting neglected. But even some of the people that were dying, that I've been getting told, because I have a lot of people that refuse to say they're on the left, but I know just from the terms they use and the sites they source, I know what you're watching. And so I see some of the stuff, and they say that people are dying in these that are being apprehended, or cruelties being done. Which
now?
Yeah, now. Which I'm not.
I haven't heard anything about.
I know.
That.
Well, I looked up some of these people, and a lot of it was already pre-consisting conditions that they had. So like. Some may have had a certain illness or something like that they didn't get treated because no one knew, which you could say like they should have been reviewed by a medical professional or blah, blah, blah. But God, this isn't the whole thing. Whether or not it happened or not, do you not think an influx of 15 to 20 million immigrants, illegal immigrants, coming over, and that all of a sudden us trying to send them all back is going to be pretty? Like from we already know government's not.
Well, I mean, it took
efficient
years for them to get here.
Yeah,
years.
Like walk into a DMV and let me know how well ran that is. I mean, that's a fucking extension of the.
Man, the one in Lee Summit though, it's pretty.
And actually, I use that term that analogy all the time. But they actually have gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
But. To think that the government is very efficient or they get everything. I mean, these are normal people working in these positions, and not every one of them is a saint, or not every one of them is actually does their job. You know how many people coast at their jobs or do the bare minimum or try to get away with doing nothing? Like,
well, when Elon sent that email, it was like, let me know what you've done in the past 2 weeks. And people were like, how dare he ask me what I have been doing for my job? And I was like, whoa, wait.
He was never elected.
Every week I send to my boss, like, hey, FYI, I've got, this is what I'm doing Monday, Tuesday, but not like in detail, but, just in general. And she does the same for us. I mean, it's not I
think that was all poorly done, because I'm sure they were skirting around, well, I don't have to report to you. I report to so-and-so and per this and that.
Well, when they did that, they screwed themselves.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's like, why are you resisting this so much? Because how long does it take to type up? Even if you only gave a couple of things that you had on there.
Yeah.
10 minutes?
Yeah.
ChatGPT response email. It's easy. It's not fucking hard. I did this, and this. ChatGPT, write me an email on that real quick.
Yeah.
Like, to act as if this couldn't be done. And honestly, you should have looked at it as a benefit, because as a tax-paying citizen, I would like to know what you guys are doing. And for you to get upset when we tell you, we pay your salary. Oh, now you're offended.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you pushed me to this. I wouldn't be asking this right now if I didn't think that.
Yeah.
If I didn't think these things, like if I didn't think that you guys were getting away with just coasting and doing the bare minimum, I mean, in the private sector, there's people that do it. You want me to think just because you work for a government organization that like you're somehow holier than thou, and that, you're fucking always on your toes and getting everything done. And come on, man, we know a lot of the reasons why people want to secure a government position.
Right.
You're taken care of, you got good benefits, and it's hard to fucking fire you.
There's not a lot of oversight.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just, I don't know. But
also I think that people view government jobs as like the untouchables. Like, we are the untouchables because we're government employees.
Right.
And what I didn't understand with that whole thing when they were all freaking out, and I'm like, I'm really sorry that you lost your job. Yeah. Like, I feel sad for you.
Yeah, and some probably lost it that didn't deserve it. They got caught up in the mix.
Yes, collateral damage.
That's what happens when you have to slash shit that gets too big.
It happens in every situation, right? But at the end of the day, I don't like, this happens in the private sector. It happens everywhere. Like, you're not the exception.
I don't know if we were on when we said it, but what happened to all the outcries for Ford and Sprint?
No, there wasn't any.
And GM and all these, oh, they don't matter because they're blue collar guys and girls?
Yeah.
Well, okay. I guess that's how you feel. Oh, but the IRS. Oh, no. Nobody even likes the IRS. No one cares. No one cares. Oh,
and it ended up being like a small little dot.
Oh, yeah, but we're stopping the rich people from getting one over on you.
Okay, well, joke's on you, because over 70% of the wealthiest people in America are Democrats.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Oof.
Mm-hmm.
And also, which rich people are you talking about? Because I love when they talk about tax the rich. we talking about like Elon Rich? Or are we talking like
Right.
Dr. Rich? Because Dr. Rich, they're probably going to have to pay. But Elon Rich has enough money where he can hire a whole fucking tax firm, and they can skirt around every loophole. You know, like you're not taxing the rich, dude. Come on now.
Yes.
You know?
So you have to have $1 million to come to that table just to have the conversation about how we can skirt around. Yeah. Or where the loopholes are, right? In the taxes.
Or maybe how about this? Just stop fucking taxing us so much. How about that?
But I think that's part of this big beautiful bill is the taxes. I mean, because if this doesn't pass or something like it, we're going to see the biggest tax increase that we've ever seen in our lifetime.
Well, I guess we'll see. Christina.
And we don't want that.
I know. We'll see.
So, the $1 trillion taxes out of my pocket right now.
I don't know. It's just hard for me to. He really messed up
not
by
an
adding that
immediate
$5 trillion,
fix. It's
that
not an
$5 trillion in
fix.
there. If he would have just left that shit out, and I'm sure there's probably a lot of other stuff he could have left out. But then again, though, it's like I'll even say this for Democrats and Republicans: it's hard to be a president if you don't have the right team around you.
100%.
Yeah.
But from what I've been told from those in Washington, this is simply a stepping stone.
Get those people in here. That's what I need. I need them in here.
I'll try my best. But this is just a stepping stone. So, meaning this bill's not perfect.
Right.
Everybody knows that. The Republicans voting for it, they understand it's not perfect.
But
they understand it doesn't go far enough. But they also understand that when they're going to be negotiating with the other side, they have to give a little, right? And so otherwise it doesn't pass. Nothing passes. If nothing passes, we see a huge tax increase, and that's a problem for every person, middle class.
But why is the taxes got to get increased?
Because the current tax cuts from Trump's first terms will expire.
Oh, why'd they put an expiration date on that?
It's a good question. I don't know why.
That's why they need me in there, Dom. Ain't it?
Don't know the
Just
answer
to ask
that.
random, normal,
it was probably part of the
questions.
negotiations of like, no, we will only let you fund for this many years, and then you have to restructure.
I wouldn't be surprised if the 50 people in that room, 49 of them didn't even know why either. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I wonder if they. I mean, because how do you know? Like think about
because they want more spending.
I know, but
that's
feel
why
overwhelmed.
they want it to go up.
I feel overwhelmed. You don't think those people in Washington, D.C. feel overwhelmed? I'm sure to God they're like, it's got to be crazy to work in that shit. You know?
I think it is crazy. I mean, you have to work across the aisle. You have to build those relationships. That's why,
Gotta do some dirt.
Yes. All of it. So, I mean, you have to, that is something you have to play the game like we talked about. Yeah. You have to play the game or you get nowhere.
My idea to make it perfect is single issue bills. Or how about this? If you say that's unrealistic, then at least cut the 1,100 pages down to, can we do 300? That's feasible, right? Like that's something we could probably read, you know?
My question is, who writes those?
I don't know.
How did they come up with that many words? Like,
I have no
how
idea.
do you
ChatGPT.
That's a newer thing.
I don't know. It's wild how long.
I mean, how long did it take them to do that? Because they say, oh, well, they wrote this up and put it across my desk in like 3 days. Well, how did you write 1,000 pages in 3 days?
I get it. The guy I'm having on, Casey, he even told me, he sent me both those studies that Patrick Tui was referring to, and he read all 88. I'm like, you're insane, dude. I threw it in ChatGPT, and it just gave me a summary real quick.
That would be the best way
to do
it.
the best way. But, like he said, well, there could be bias. Well, your interpretation of the study could also be biased as well, because your profile picture is of you in a Chiefs jersey. So, you know what I mean? And I like the guy now. He's become a friend now. And
but if they went to Kansas, it's not the end of the world at the end of the day,
right?
Because they're still in the region.
But like
it's not like they went to St. Louis.
Yeah, but like I told him, it's like no one's reading 77-page study. Like that's maybe if that's your job for sure. Yeah. But we need to somehow make this to where common people can be. And I'm not saying make it as easy for them. We also have to do our part and be involved and be able to, educate ourselves. But like, come on, man, let's make this shit easier. Like, does it have to be 77 pages? Can you give us a summarized version? Like, and I guess too, you have to know. Words. Well, you have to know how to read these studies as well, which I didn't even know. Like, there's certain like God, I don't know what they're called. Like, you know how you have like a conclusion, like, you know how like when you write a paper,
like the scientific
yeah, you have
theory
like a
type thing.
thesis
Yeah.
and all this
Yeah.
shit. Like, there's a way to read to where you can skip a lot of that stuff and just get the actual summary of it. This guy at work was telling me about it. I can't remember what words he was using on that, but there's a section of these studies where it gives you like a broad summary of like what the study was about, like what the conclusion came out of it. But yeah, so just condense it and make it easier for the people in the same way with bills. Like, just condense it down and stop moving shit over. That when that shit passed, what's before the House, before it gets to the House, on the stadium stuff, like it passed one thing and then it got to the House and then it got passed again. But like they passed it at like 2 a.m.
Well, it's because they were up until they figured it out.
Jesus Christ, though. And then who voted on that? Why? Who said that was
Whoever
okay?
was there.
That's not cool. Ask Jackson County if they thought that was cool. You know, like, yeah, those are your elected leaders, and I get it. You can't always like. I do understand their side of it. It would be difficult to kind of involve everybody into everything, but maybe our society has gotten so rotten and so just dumb and just complacent that like we need to change and we need to get more involved. We need to make politics. We need to involve ourselves just in politics like we do these fucking football games. You know. Like, if we had that same energy, you know how many dudes I know that can list off 100 players and all their stats and if you took that same energy and knew your local leaders, you know what I mean? And I'm putting myself in this too. I don't know all these stats, but with fighting and stuff like that. Like, I know a lot of like fighters and stuff like that. And so I get it. Like, put that energy into these people. And I need to do it too. Dom definitely needs to do it. I mean, he's a Raiders fan. You know, he's losing twice.
It's a really tough one to crack over there.
It's very tough. Dom, how do you feel, man?
Some people, it's just, you don't have
you
hope
sleeping
for
over there?
them.
No.
Oh, come on, dude. I know we're talking about the Chiefs. I know you started dozing off. But
I mean, it's got to be rough to be a Raiders fan
it does.
when this Chiefs dynasty happening.
It won't happen too much longer.
Oh,
okay.
That is true. That's what I worry about, though. Like, if they were to move to, like, I know
They're
the
not
Royals,
moving.
but wasn't there talks at one point putting Arrowhead downtown too?
Oh.
No, not at
I
all.
heard.
So they just
where
want
would you put
renovation.
it?
I don't know. I'm sure they could find it somewhere.
They want
Knock
the
something
Orioles
down.
out, so they have the whole complex.
They'd probably just move
The
a lot of
biggest
citizens
issue
out of their
with
area.
the stadiums where they
that are barely
are
making
is
it.
that area surrounding them is desolate.
Mhm.
There's nothing out there.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that. Was it the Adams Mark Hotel? Isn't that hotel right by Denny's? Denny's burnt down. So that's not even there anymore.
You got a Taco Bell?
Mhm.
Everybody loves Taco Bell.
Yeah, and a BP and a Casey's. They have Casey's now. You know, that's new. So there's that.
They have a Casey's over there now?
Yeah. They bought out the Conoco, I think, or Phillips 66, and there's the Casey's there. But they don't sell whole pizzas. They only sell slices, which is,
What the hell?
I don't know.
You know what's funny
So
when
it's not like a real Casey's.
when that tornado happened? I know damn well. What's the guy owner's name? Clark Hunt or whatever.
Clark, yeah.
Clark, yeah, he was probably like, hit the stadium. Like, it was so close. They were like, oh, we're about to get our renovations. That
It
we
was.
wanted.
They were like, I was watching the news. They're like, looks like a tornado is going up right over the stadiums about now. And I was like, damn.
Oh, I know. It's like weather manipulation. Let's not go down the conspiracy route.
Oh,
but,
that's a whole
let's
other
check
issue.
it.
Yeah.
Chemtrails are real. All right, continue.
I don't disagree with you.
I'm just testing the waters here. I'm testing the waters.
I don't disagree with you.
If anybody disagrees about chemtrails in 2025, you're insane. There's plenty of evidence out there right now.
I mean, it's been going on for decades.
Yeah.
They've been they were talking about it in the 50s.
Yeah.
Like Congress was talking about it in the 50s. So
It's wild. It's wild.
yeah.
But they have our best interests at heart, for sure.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah. Well, Christina, I appreciate you coming on. It's been fun.
Thank you for the invite.
We definitely have to do this again. Maybe we'll tone it down a bit and actually focus in more on some local matters when you come back on. Like,
Well, maybe there'll be more local stuff.
maybe there'll be more local stuff going on because
Yeah.
right now, it's a little dead. Other than our ATV, which they've been cracking down on that. And did KCPD hire a professional photographer to follow them around? Because their Instagram page is like. They have
I've noticed that it's
Yeah.
getting better.
Oh, also, KCPD, I have seen your YouTube page, and wow. I mean, I don't know who you hired as a videographer on that, but it was so bad. And granted, some of those videos were from like 3 years ago, but it was so bad. I was watching it, and I was like, but it was so bad it was good. One of those, like Napoleon Dynamite, so bad it's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so
Brought
keep
up
it
that
up.
movie.
I had so many laughs when I watched that. But yeah, it's wild. But yeah, I hope they do start figuring shit out and start kind of cleaning up. And I also feel sorry for those businesses too. So Mayor Lucas, make sure you're answering your text messages. Also, that journalist that interviewed him, did you see that when he confronted him on that? The Fox 4 guy?
Oh, that was dicey.
I reached out to that dude, man. Read your messages, man. I know I ain't got a blue check mark, but shit. He went up to him and they had a big altercation about. He's like, "Well, I'm showing you right now. It shows red." And
yeah.
I was like, "Ooh, damn, he's getting called out." And then he was like, he wanted to ask him more, but he said he had to leave to something. Of course, there's something that pops up.
Always.
I gave Mayor Lucas balls for even showing up to that. They must have told him.
Didn't he have a birthday party to go to or something?
Something, but I don't know what they told him to get him there, but. I was like, damn, you guys must have lied to him and been like, hey, we believe you. Come in here. We're going to.
Stop. They were like, we'll put you on TV. He was like, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Oh, man. That's wild, dude. And when does he go up for, like, how long are mayor terms? Like, how long does he?
4-year terms.
4-year terms? So
yeah, but he got reelected. Oh, gosh. What was that last year?
I don't know.
He got reelected during this last city council run. Which was not last year. Maybe it was 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, well.
2024, maybe.
He hasn't been doing very good.
I don't know.
So, well, good luck with that. Good luck with the plaza deteriorating. And
well, they just hired a bunch of private security
guys. Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, the new owners are trying to preserve the plaza. I mean, the curfew is in effect now. Yeah,
watch your kids. Know where they're at.
Well,
it's not hard.
I think hard for some people.
It is hard for some people, but if you're gonna have children, you gotta
take on the responsibility.
You gotta take on the responsibility. We can't keep having this cop out of, well, I'm a single mother, or I'm a single father, or I'm a 2 jobs. Like, I get it. It sucks, man, and my heart goes out to you.
100%.
You gotta do what you gotta do. But I don't. Like, so then it's okay?
Yeah, it doesn't make it okay.
Because what happens when your kid gets arrested and you're upset and he's an angel and he didn't do nothing wrong and blah, blah, blah.
But he's a part of a gang.
Yeah, but he's a part of a gang and he has a gun on him. Like, I don't know what to I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, my gosh, like, when Sean Brady in Brookside was murdered.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that, like, I knew Sean.
Was that the store owner or whatever?
Yeah. Of Brady and Fox. Mm-hmm. Wait, sorry.
Yeah, they killed him, didn't he? When he was like in the alleyway or next to.
Well, okay, so he was behind his behind the restaurant. And I guess they were trying to steal his car, and so he confronted them, and they're just teenage boys. I want to say 14 years old, 15, and they just thought like they pulled out, and then they stopped, got out, shot him, got back in, and left. Like. I don't understand. So,
there was a guy there at a restaurant trying to stab people. You remember when all the people were fighting him with chairs at the plaza?
Oh yeah.
Was that a Cheesecake Factory? Where was that?
No, that was at. Oh gosh, if you said the name, I would know.
I don't know. Go look it up.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Go look it up. But but it's just wild to me. And honestly, like if I could, like, people carry a fucking gun. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know you may not like it. It's scary. It sucks.
Or at least a burner.
Heavy. Or what? What is that? A burner?
Yeah, you don't have the burners? So, Dan Bongino has talked about these.
Oh, Dan Bongino.
But no, they're CO, like it's a gun, but it's like with CO2 cartridges. So it won't kill somebody, but it will incapacitate them for like 30 minutes.
How many rounds are in that thing? Is it one shot?
I don't know.
I can't do that.
Are in there.
Yeah, I can't do that. What if you're a horrible shot?
I think it's multiple shots.
What if he's on fucking PCP? What if he's on meth? He just keeps coming.
But I don't. But will he? Supposedly
bullets hurt more than. I'm not willing to take the risk.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Okay, bullets do hurt more.
If you're in a situation to where there's a crazy man coming at you,
but if you kill somebody, also that will mess with your head the rest of your life.
You shouldn't have been trying to rob me. I'm sorry. I don't want to kill anybody. I don't.
Of course not.
But if it's my life, I'm going home to my kids. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
And when it comes down to that, no one told you to come rob me. I don't care what situation you're in. I don't care whatever sad sob story you got. it's my life or yours.
Yeah.
And that's for everybody. And I think people need to start seeing that and accepting that. I'm not saying it's not going to play, like it's not going to mess with you. I'm sure it would, but fuck, I'd rather mess with me than be dead.
I mean, that's true.
You know, it's
That's
just,
valid.
I don't know what to tell you. You can't rely on cops to be there. They're not going to be there right away. Like
But
they
why-
have
but
other
they
shit
wouldn't
going
be.
on.
Yeah,
know?
I mean, you don't have a personal bodyguard that follows you
No,
around
you don't.
everywhere.
You are your own personal bodyguard. That's why
Yeah.
I'm so Second Amendment. Like I'm heavy
Yeah.
on that. Like
Yeah.
it's not to be this whatever you think. Oh, you're just Republican and guns and blah blah. Blah. You
No.
just want to fucking kill people and all that. No. I want to defend myself.
Correct.
You know, that's it. You know, and it just, and I
And
understand.
that's okay.
It's hard to navigate because all these fucking stores have those stupid no gun signs on them that
Well,
drive me nuts.
that's the other piece, that those are the targeted places.
They are.
Like
How
you're
many?
targeted.
How many people go in and rob a police station?
Right.
Not very many.
Exactly.
Yeah, but where do they go? Schools, and fucking shoot up a school, shoot up a movie theater, or attack you while you're at work. Apparently, when they probably know you don't have a gun on you.
But the sign was on the door that said no gun.
I know. Yeah, you're gonna be safe. That sticker's gonna fucking save you.
That sticker.
So I don't know. I just fucking pack heat. That's all I can say, man. And defend yourself, man, woman, doesn't matter. And be environmentally aware. Like, you know, look at your surroundings. I know you're not always going to be able to watch for everything, but try. You know, that's what you got to do. You know, and especially if you have a family and kids with you, and you know, or even if you're by yourself, you know, just, or you could save somebody else. You know what I mean? Like you could literally say, there's so many stories out there on YouTube where there's people that like are in a restaurant and somebody comes in with a gun and that person shoots the attacker and saves countless lives. You know, I don't care if, oh, well, they were just wanting, I didn't know that. When they come into your house, do you know that? No.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you don't. I'm not going to go, hey, hold on. Are you here to kill me or here to take my TV? Like, we're not going to figure that out right now, man. We can figure that out.
Does it matter?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
We have a closed door for a reason, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and same thing for people on immigration to end that. You know, if you don't believe in borders, then leave your door open at night. You know, I don't know what to tell you. So,
okay, but those are the same people when, you know, like in Martha's Vineyard, when they got sent there, they were like, whoa. We don't have resources for these people. Yeah. And then Texas was like, we don't either.
Yeah.
But there's millions.
Oh, yeah. That's a lot of people neglect that. It's how many people live along that border and have to deal with that. Yeah. Or even protests, man. You know, you want to let people protest in, you know, business areas and let their businesses get broken into and shattered and shit stolen. Well, you know, Lucas, wherever you live at, let them go protest on that street and see how you feel. You know, I'm sure you'd be calling the cops immediately.
Wouldn't feel safe.
Yeah, immediately, because you're scared that, you know, whatever your Tesla or Mercedes or whatever you drive, probably not a Tesla anymore, but
yeah, probably not.
Your BMW or whatever you drive is
crazy.
going to get scratched. You know, it's like, you know, stop acting as if things are okay. And I'm not saying stop people from free speech, you know what but understand that the concerns that people have in those areas, because it's okay to sit at your throne and say, it's okay, it's over there, until it ends up on your street, you know, and then can't have that. I mean, how many times did we see when the BLM was marching, actually going into neighborhoods? You remember that shit when they were going into,
like in St. Louis?
I don't remember if St. Louis. I thought it was here. They had actually went.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, through one of the neighborhoods, and they had to call police.
Mine.
And no.
Good.
I can't remember. I can't remember who it was. So many stories, but they were going in through neighborhoods and protesting certain individuals, and yeah, it was all of a sudden an issue. Now it's like, well, why don't you feel that way for business owners when they literally, some of them had to put "we support BLM" out there just so their shit wouldn't get messed up. So
which is sad.
Mm-hmm. It is, you know, and I feel bad for the protesters that were just out there trying to be voiced.
And those are all the same people.
People
are like,
seek opportunity.
Yeah, you know? And they're like, stop bullying us, but we're going to bully you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys are hypocrites.
And a lot of it's just young kids. You know, they're just young kids running wild out there, and they want to tear shit up. It's like,
but many are getting paid.
Yeah, some are. Yeah, some are. Yeah, some are backed. But mysterious brick pallets showing up in parking lots. Where are they getting all those rocks? But
they just showed up.
Yeah, they just showed up. But hey, I appreciate it. Is there anything that you wanted to say before? I think we covered quite a bit.
Covered a lot.
Yeah, we did
Yeah.
cover a lot. Definitely, we'll have you back on. Maybe we'll have both you guys on next
That
time.
would be
And
fun.
we did
Yeah.
individual videos, but now or different episodes. But now we'll have you and Garcia on, and yeah, we'll definitely do it again. So
Be awesome.
Thank
Thank you.